welcome back to another exciting episode of Mice and Murder. I am Sully, your humble dungeon master, and with me, as always, are our Sylvan Sleuths. Say hi, Sylvan Sleuths.
Hi, Sylvan Sleuths.
Alrighty. Players and listeners, welcome back. We had a week off because a few of us were moving, but don't stir in your comfort for too long because if you recall, we have a juicy episode tonight. For last we left our animal investigators, yet another murder had been discovered in the manor. This time, the corpses of Lady Constance Brockhollow and her husband, Dr. Magpie, brutally slaughtered in a gruesome scene in the billiards room. But Detective Jack West was on the case. Using his keen eyes, he was able to uncover the murder. Or should I say, the murderers. Gasp! Yes! Because the culprits have been hiding in plain sight under the noses of all the partygoers this entire time. None other than Detective Edmund Cross and Sergeant Alex Greer. Dun dun dun! Yes, it all makes sense. The ever-so-crafty detective moving around in the open, drawing everyone's attention, while the muscle moves unnoticed to brutally murder their targets. After all, Squire Badger may have been the more challenging of the murderers, but he's no match for the sergeant in their prime, and perhaps Constance figured it all out. And not like she could stop Greer, that 200-pound kangaroo. Detective West took off after the two of them, who have partnered with the former butler, Godfrey Jeeves. Murderers who are now backed into a corner. Or so we thought. Using a pretty clutch zone of truth, West revealed that Cross and Greer had no idea or any recollection about doing the murders. In fact, going as far as to say they didn't do it. As per the spell, they could not tell West a lie. So it seems someone was framing the two of them. Satisfied, West joins them in opening the locked door in the secret wing to divulge a passageway at the end of the hallway. It's important to remember that the reason we got down here is because Greer cracked the riddle, Mrs. Molesley's riddle, about the elevator going somewhere at 3 o'clock, it not being a time, but a position. Opening the door revealed perhaps one of, if not the biggest secret in the entirety of our campaign. A morgue. Or perhaps better described, as I said in the last episode, the biggest Build-A-Bear workshop. But before I give our investigators a chance to explore this morgue, we return upstairs as the police have arrived. They are investigating the scene of the murder. Another scream rings out from upstairs. Mr. Edgar Undergrove, please roll me a perception check.
Oh boy. 13.
13. You've just left the billiards room, so you're kind of still in the vicinity, having followed Harding. The scream is coming from the seance room.
Okay. So, to be clear, where is the seance room? Because I've been told twice and I forget which one.
It is upstairs, and it's about 2 doors away from the billiards room.
And I'm upstairs by the billiard room. Correct.
Where are you getting an H from?
What?
Yeah, it is coming from upstairs in the seance room. Do you pursue? Do you go towards the scream?
What was I doing previously?
You were following Harding. If you recall, you found the secret room in Molesley's bedroom. That goes to Squire Badger's bedroom.
And I'm back in his bedroom, right?
So you went through Molesley's bedroom to Squire's bedroom, but the doors were open, and you saw that Harding was heading down to the bottom of the stairs. Like he was at the bottom of the stairs.
Alright, so is that the way towards the screams, or is it the other?
So you wouldn't be able to go downstairs because remember the seance room is upstairs. It's on the floor you're currently on.
Alright, I'll head to the seance room.
Okay. You go towards the scream. In the entrance hall on the dais there, everybody who's rushing towards the scream as well, the body of Lady Lucretia Brockhollow.
Lady?
On the dais, you see her body hanging, kind of like hanging on the banister there. Like it's the door's open. You see her body is kind of like there in the entranceway. You see there on the dais, scrawled in blood. You see kind of scribbled above her head. You see the words, "Tick-tock, for I do not need my hands or body to call upon the powers of the grave. I have taken the daughter. I have taken the sister. Now I will take the son as my final offering to the serpent." And underneath that, you see another picture scrawled in blood of a raccoon's face.
Interesting.
Oh, what's his name? Patrick?
Patrick?
Oh,
What do
I
you mean
can't
dead
think
then?
of the only raccoon is Edmund Cross. The son's name.
What do you want to do, boss?
Is it just me?
You see that there are some other guests that are coming up here and whatnot, but you're the first one there.
Right. I'm gonna shut the door. With me on the outside.
Okay, you go to shut the door, and the door stops on Lucretia's body.
I thought you said it was on the banister.
There's blood that goes down in the bonnet. She's in the doorway. She's like in the doorway of the room.
I'm gonna do that. And what the fuck? Her body was on the banister. And I'm like, alright, cool. I'm gonna shut this.
The scene spills out onto the banister, so there's like, again, this very gruesome murder scene where you see that like blood and entrails and bits of fur and whatnot. It looks like it started in one spot and just kind of spread all the way. It looks like she was like incredibly eviscerated.
Can I get like, since I already know about the seams from the first body, can I take an advantage roll in perception to see if I can see seams on this body?
Yes, you can get, but it would be investigation or medicine.
Okay. Nope. Alright.
Let's move to the live stream so people can see our rolls. Insane. You roll a 20, you immediately know where your hands need to go. You immediately feel, again, those deep, deep stitching underneath the fur.
I'm immediately just gonna be like, it's a fake.
Do you say that out loud? You see that, like, the constabulary who were in the billiard room when you shut the door to let them investigate, they come running towards the billiard room, like, I was all the commotion over here. You see that you're standing by the scene of the crime. As you do that, you see Jeremy runs upstairs. Oh man, you see Jeremy stands up and goes, all right, everyone, remain calm. The murder scene is being investigated. The constabulary is here. It's only a matter of time before the murderer is caught. And yeah, you see that like, a bunch of people have rushed over here. You see that like Miss Molesley's there in the group of people there. tremendous crash of lightning from outside. Just there's a scream. You see like not you, but like lightning crashes. Mrs. Mole, like somebody screams in the crowd. This ghostly wailing throughout Loam Hall as like the lights begin to flicker and whatnot. And you see that Miss Molesley looks back to you, Edgar, and she goes, "Oh dear, what a fight!" And she like grabs onto your hand. As she does so, you see the police goes. Some of the police like, "Oh, all right, everyone, remain calm." You, Edgar, at this point, I think you realize that time is of the essence, like in one way or another. Whether, that like noose around your neck being like literally in the same room as the police, or whoever is murdering people like has a grudge against the family and you work for the family, so your head might be on the chopping block. I don't know what it is specifically that you're feeling.
There?
Huh?
Police there, right?
Yeah, the police are there.
Alright, I'm gonna actually... How many officers are there?
Say again?
How many officers are there?
There are 5 of them.
I'm gonna actually ask one. I'm gonna like ask one if he can accompany me to a part of the mansion that I think is very vital or of the essence.
What do you say to him?
Hey, officer.
Good start.
Right. Well, the Edgar's nervous as hell trying to talk to a cop. Could you accompany me upstairs?
You're upstairs right now.
No. We need to go upstairs
To the roof?
to where the shooting was.
You see that he goes, he goes, "Citizen, thank you for your patronage and, getting getting here as fast as you could, but we've got a murderer on the loose, and, you're a big stocky fella, I'm sure, you can defend yourself should something come and try and hurt you."
Does he have a gun?
He does have a gun.
And what skill would it be? A sleight of hand? If I wanted to just try to finagle that out of the holster.
Oh yeah, definitely sleight of hand. It's in a holster with like a clip, like a button around it, like a little piece of leather that goes around the handle and clips it in. So you're for sure at disadvantage, especially with like all the other cops here.
Alright. Huh. Alright, well, I'm going to... Well, they're here for that, so I'm gonna actually go... I have no idea, I'm lost.
Do you need a second to figure some stuff out?
Yeah.
All right, we return to the morgue. Guys, you've just picked the lock open using a stethoscope. to whether you agree or disagree, the lock has popped open using the dates from the bust, both the incorrect date and the real date of Barcus Aurelius's his rule. The door comes open.
breaking up real bad.
How bad is real bad?
Like,
Oh,
more.
yeah.
Sound like robot. Not that it's
How about now?
a lot better.
A lot better? Cool.
Significantly better.
The door opens up, a blast of cold air being held back by those plastic flaps, those linings that you would see normally in like a walk-in cooler, hang in front of you. You open the door, blast the cold air. Those of you with fur, it stands up. As you enter in, I'll just replay this scene. You see tables and freezers, like pull-out freezers, with a bunch of bodies on them. I believe it was West who was the one who checked first. You pull the sheet off of one, revealing the body of Sir William Brockhollow.
I thought I found another Squire Badger. For some reason.
Same person.
Huh? Is it the
William
same-
Brockhollow is Squire Badger.
What?
Yeah, because he was the
Yeah.
squire of the mansion. The
You
same
two,
person.
you two are having this conversation. Either of you give me a wisdom check. So a d20 plus your wisdom, or a d20 plus your intelligence modifier, either one.
Would that be like a wisdom throw then?
So it's not a saving throw. There's no proficiency. Actually, I'll tell you what. Yeah, give me an intelligence saving throw or a wisdom saving throw. Either one, your choice. Jack, you guys are having this conversation. The body is upstairs. Squire Brockhollow's body is upstairs. You, think about it, and sure enough, it's right in front of you as well.
I guess I'll check to see if there's seams.
You were there when, I believe, Edgar was one who told you about the stitching, how something was off about the body. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Detective West, there are stitches on this body.
Robots back.
But wait.
Sorry, I said there are stitches on this body.
Okay. But I just thought of something. Did we ever check the first Squire Badger body for stitching? We found shrapnel near his heart. But didn't we think it was the real one?
I will tell you this because you would have known. For this particularly, you did not check the body that was upstairs, as far as comparing clues go. So you didn't check it to see if it had stitching or anything like that.
Are there any other sheet-covered tables in this room?
Ooh, okay. Jack, there are tons of them in here.
How big is this room?
It's a big room. It's for me to it's hard for me to explain in terms of a size that you could get. It's not as big as a gymnasium, but maybe half of a gymnasium. It's huge. It clearly takes up, this whole room is probably half of the manor. Not up and down, but as far as width goes, It's just like this massive chamber that is submerged between the ground floor and the cellar. It's a truly massive room. But you see that there are tons of bodies down here. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. There are 15 bodies down here.
Should we? I'm gonna look to the other people in the room. Should we check under all these? Should we check under all these?
I see no reason why we shouldn't just throw the cloths off of all of them.
I agree with that.
It's not like they're gonna be booby trapped. They're sheets over bodies in a morgue.
No, now that
Is
he has,
anyone else feeling like zombie?
now that he says booby traps, I'm gonna look for those.
Roll a perception check.
Oh my god.
As a butler, he's used to looking for those.
They don't seem booby trapped. You know, it's you take a look around, nothing seems like there's no tripwires or anything that, I mean, that doesn't mean, except for a couple of boobies, like regular boobies.
Can I ask for a quick check?
Of the boobies?
Not for boobies. Can I look for? So I know that we came down the elevator. I want to look for any alternative ways out of this floor.
Okay, go ahead and give me up. I think we established this last session, and that is that most of your animals have some sort of night vision, like that came in clutch. That I remember call that too. So you guys can all see in the dark. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Bada bing. Bada boom. 18.
18. You see that. You said you're looking for other ways out of the room.
Yeah, just other ways out. Yeah.
Ooh. It doesn't look like there's another way out of here. But I will. That's still a 15 check. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna send you something.
The secrecy begins. Would you be willing to let me use that same check to figure out where the ventilation is coming from?
It looks like, so without being able to like see the actual like, you know, the engineering or how it's looked up or anything like that. I say engineering, but it's more like what that'd be plumbing, I suppose. I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly where it's coming from. On an 18, you can tell that a bunch of like pipes feed into here, like a bunch of like massive wide mouth pipes that are probably bringing in air from some sort of like generator that moves, moves the cold air in.
Gotcha. Is it like, does it seem like a system that I could feasibly crawl through? Without dying?
Sorry, I was sending you your message. It looks like they're really small. Like we've already kind of established that, you know, as a raccoon you can squeeze into small spaces. They're not like full like steel pipes. It's one of those like almost like aluminum kind of one. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like real flimsy. Like you for sure.
Like whoop 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 sound.
Yeah, like
Walk on 'em.
you'll for sure tear through it if you crawl through it. Like just your weight alone.
If I tear through it, I'll be... Where would I end up if I tore through it?
You'd probably end up like, you know, in like the, not, usually like they would lead to like a boiler room or something. So you'd probably end up like just in the it's like 1905. There's probably not a there's probably like space that's around it. You know what I mean? Because they would have had to dig a tunnel. They would have had to dig a tunnel to run the pipes through. But it wouldn't have gone any like. If you fell out before you got to the room, it probably wouldn't end up anywhere crazy. You would just be stuck in the ground.
So here's what I'm trying to puzzle. Because in my mind, I'm like, they probably have this whole fucking refrigeration system hidden, but they also have to have it set up somewhere. So where is it set up? And that's why I'm debating whether or not I want to crawl into the vents and you know, bust open. But first things first, I want to check out that thing that you sent me about.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say anything about it yet, but I do want to investigate it.
Give me an investigation check.
Bada bing. That's not the roll I was hoping for.
It looked with a 14, so it's not a 15. There's a lot of I'm trying to say this without giving it away. It's not like one set that's in here. It's a few sets. So that you have options, I would say. But it looks like that it was hidden in such a way that, you know, it wasn't hidden well, right? It's just like kind of out of eye shot. You would have had to like only somebody who's looking for it probably would have found it. So that's why with an 18 you were able to find it.
Okay. Can I ask you a follow-up question?
Yes.
Because you did send me some of the items that are in this bag. Are the glasses prescription?
They are not.
Damn it. Never mind. If they're not prescription, it probably doesn't matter. Alright. So, there weren't any other ways out of the room other than maybe breaking open a vent.
Correct. As far as you can tell.
Can I do that? Can I just start crawling into a vent and just kick it open?
Bold move there, Con. Let's see how that plays out.
Give me an acrobatics check. I guess. I don't know.
Please be high. That's not high.
You take the grate off, you are immediately blasted with like the source of all of this cold air, and it is going to be like, it's first off, the blast of it is enough for you to realize, like, kind of throw you off balance, but you also realize like there's enough air just coming out of this all at once. This room is freezing cold, by the way, right? It's not just chilly. It's not like a walk-in where it's just chilly. It's freezing in here. You know, you guys are furred animals, so for the most part, you're doing okay. But being literally in the path of where the main source of all of this, like, jet blasts of air are, crawling through this is going to be a problem.
Okay, so like, you told me I realized that, but could I still go through with it?
Okay. You crawl in?
Yeah.
You take 6 points of cold damage.
Okay. Am I in it though?
You're in it. Can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
These are not things that I like to hear. They're not at all things that I like to hear. 11.
You take 6 points of damage, and you immediately feel like that cold starting to bite at you. Your movement speed is halved, but you can keep going.
Can I break the vent open? Or
Sure.
am I not deep enough yet?
You can break the vent open.
Yeah, I'd like to break the vent open.
Okay. You puncture a hole in that aluminum tubing, and you find that there's like not really the foundation, but like, the room has the outer perimeter of the room, that like outer shell, and you find that you're like up towards that, but you are like in the ground in like the hollow, like that tunnel that they had to lay the pipe through.
Okay.
It's clearly not big enough, like, was not intended for somebody to have to, like they drilled through here. It wasn't like somebody walked through here with a shovel.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Is it enough space for me to crawl through, though?
I'm looking for your acrobatics check. I don't remember. Oh, with a 7? I'm gonna say, is it small enough for you to crawl through? Yes, but it is still cold, right? Like, you're still definitely getting that cold air. If you continue, you will likely freeze to death in here.
Even if I get out of the pipe, it's still that cold outside.
You're
of the pipe?
you're in a literal recess where the air is filling, almost like, if you poke a hole in the side of a water bottle, but the water bottle is in a bowl, the bowl is still gonna fill up with water.
See his legs from where I'm standing?
Yes.
After I watch him crawl into the pipe,
Yeah, you see him.
I'm gonna pull him out.
Pull me out. Yeah, I'm not gonna resist that in any way, shape, or
You pull him out. You feel like frosted tips on his fur.
Frosted tits.
Frosted tips.
Tits.
may or may not have 5 hit points remaining. There may or may not be some frostbite.
So we established that there is no traps on any of the blankets, right?
They're not blankets. Also, they're like sheets. You know what I mean? Like, they're not they don't have just full on like knitted blankets. Fucking down here dead with quilts. Like,
I'm a damn
Sheet
so.
first, so I had insulation.
That's what I was going for.
If I take cold
listen. I'm gonna explain this to you. The reason that there are sheets on the bodies is not for
some warm, yeah,
for
I know.
comfort, bro.
They're dead.
They're dead. It's more so just so that like,
Respectful.
yeah, so that people don't have to look at corpses.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying to warm him back up, just cover him in like 3 blankets to insulate him.
Sheets.
Sheets. But I'll allow it.
Would it be warm enough for me to attempt to crawl through the
No.
pipe?
It's like putting on 3 t-shirts,
It'll help a little bit.
Is,
Why is that
is
so
there a rope
accurate?
down here?
Is there a rope down here?
Yeah.
Just chilling?
Ha, chillin'. Get it?
Yeah. Like, is there a rope laying around anywhere?
Not really.
There might be thread they use to sew the
To sew the linen.
Well, I was looking for something to tie him up so he doesn't try that stupid shit again.
You probably should just ask him.
I'm not gonna jump in.
We're gonna move ahead a little bit here. We're gonna go ahead and move forward. Is there anything else anybody would like to look for or look at?
I'm gonna look at one of the bodies though and see if I can figure out a cause of death.
Can you roll me a D20, please?
12.
12. You pull the sheet off. 1, 2, 3. You pull the sheet off. You see the body of this large body. Looks like a much older gentleman. Another badger. again, like much older. Clearly, like as far as cause of death goes, that's a medicine check. But under this sheet, you see is a like I said, is a much older badger, brown in color, clearly not related to the Brockhollows because they are like black and white badgers. This one is brown, but you do see something like that's weird about them, and that is that this badger is missing a lot of his fur. Like it's like they skinned it.
Can I look around and see if there's any dyes?
Like coloring dye?
Yeah, like hair dye.
Oh yeah, give me a perception check. You look around, you do not see dye, but you see tons of like these, like, so there's a bunch of tables all over the place with a bunch of bodies on them. And I'll just say this before you guys even do it. Because I imagine that as you guys walk through this room, some of you like open up one of the sheets just to get a glimpse to see what you're working at. There's a smorgasbord of animals down here. For the most part, they're all like the same animals. There's a couple of like crows. There's a couple of mice down here. There's a lot of badgers down here. You see that there's a goat. There's a couple of rams. A bunch of just like a variety of animals. But for the most part, a lot of them look like they've had parts taken from them. Whether it's like their skin, like their fur, whether it's a couple of like some of them are missing eyes, some of them are missing like teeth, pieces of like, their claws and stuff like that. There's, again, just littered all over the place are these bodies that have pieces missing from them. You also see there's in the center of like, almost like in the center of the room is a much larger table, a little bit wide. It's not so thin as to just hold a body like a gurney would. It's like a large operating table. You see on that table, however, not dye, but you see a massive amount of like this really thick kind of thread, and like huge gauged needles, like these huge hooked, like almost like fishing hook needles.
Mr. West, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I believe it is.
What, why would they be stowing bodies like this? If someone's dead, like, is someone trying to fake their own death?
I don't know, but why would they need multiples of Squire Badger if they faked his death?
Mr. West, can you roll me an insight, please? Yeah, it is a little weird as to like why they would need, if they were gonna fake the Squire's death, you can see why they would use a body double to fake someone's death. Let me start there. But I think it occurs to you, why, not so much why you would need, like, if you were gonna make a replica, because nobody looks the same, if you were to make the replica of, like, say a badger, like of Squire Brockhollow, you wouldn't be able to do it with just another badger, because they don't look the same. But if you were to get 2 badgers, 3 badgers, 4 badgers, kind of like mix them together with the parts that do look the same, you might have yourself a pretty good fake.
But why would you need 2 fakes?
That is the question.
So, wait, is Badger, did he kill himself? Or theoretically?
Is he actually dead?
Yeah, like, is he What if he faked his own death? And now he's off somewhere with Cotton Bottom's Mr. No, that is Cotton Bottom. Right? The bad one.
Can I clarify a few things real quick?
What's up?
So, there is down here a fake patchworked Squire Badger corpse.
Yes.
And upstairs, there is a Squire Badger corpse. We do not know if it is patchwork or not.
Correct.
I believe that the working theory should be that something went wrong and somebody actually killed the Squire before they faked his death. And I think that's part of the reason why the actual family, who is probably in on this, considering they know about this morgue, is they're probably shook. That, or they are the ones who killed him for whatever reason. I don't know their motives, so I can't explain why they would kill him. But I think the one upstairs is a real corpse with a real murder, and they did not. They just basically booted him from the plan, whatever the fuck the plan was. At least that's my theory, with the information present.
So then, who's next to quote-unquote die?
Well, what kind of body do we got? And start ripping off sheets.
The notes. Oh, we don't know that.
Okay. You rip off of the sheets. In order. There are 3 crows. There are 2 mice. There are 7 badgers, a goat, and 2 rams.
Do you put that in here or something?
Yes, yes, I can.
That was too fast.
There are 3 crows. There are 7 badgers. There are 2 mice. 1 goat and 2 rams. 1 goat, 2 rams.
Who in attendance is one of the animals in question?
I feel like the mice would be Mrs. Mosley.
Well, there's
Wait a minute. Hold on. Rewind. What did you just say?
Well, no, the mice are there to replace Mrs. Mosley, and I think she's in on it.
All right, Herd. Say that for me one more time.
She's a mole, isn't she?
Yeah.
You so
Yeah, she's a mole. So why are they using the mice to replace her?
They could just kill moles.
Well then, it would be the
The hell
it would be
are
the
mice?
2 mice.
One of the mice, because I think reasonably, I feel like with all the corpses down here, are they all already patchworked or are they missing parts?
So none of the corpses other than the one that is in the middle of the room, the one that's on that operating table, that big one, is Squire Badger.
Yes.
All of the other ones are on a bunch of medical gurneys and stuff. Those ones have been kind of dismembered and stuff, dismantled.
So
The only patchwork corpse in this morgue is Squire Badger.
Okay. I think reasonably we can assume that the other corpses are in transit to being fake deaths. But with the fact that they're already kind of dismembered, I think we can assume that it takes multiple corpses to make one patchwork corpse if they have to dissect different parts. So I think there's only one mouse. One mouse corpse. But if the mouse twins are in on it, they might just be leaving one as a plant or something. I don't know. Or there's gonna be 2 dead mice and one of them's gonna be real. smile.
One wants to kill the other one.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe they're
Uh,
roomies.
Shit, don't got enough puzzle pieces for that.
So we saw footprints leading into the cooler. Are there any leading towards the elevator?
So remember, the only way to get into this room was from the elevator. You come down from the elevator opens, it goes down a hallway, there's a door at the end of the hallway. Those footprints literally come from the elevator into this room.
But do they go back into the elevator?
Yeah.
Is this question.
Some of them do.
Can I look at the ones that are leaving here? See if there's any mice footprints?
You're looking at the ones that are leaving?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's any mice.
Can I look for the ones that don't come back out?
You may. Go ahead and give me a perception check, please.
Can I make it an investigation?
Investigation implies your hands, but I'll allow it.
Valid. I mean, it's a trail that I am following. I'm assuming. So I'm assuming it's a bit more closer. But you said it'll allow it, so I won't logic it anymore. Dirty 20.
You see that some of them that leave, you find one of the trails, and there is a trap door under one of the rugs that is like, it's not really a rug, it's more of like a mat so you don't like slip on the condensation that is inevitably going to form in here. But you also find a patch of fur on the ground, which is mouse fur, with some pond scum on it.
Like a skinned patch of fur, or just like it's been like ripped.
Like it's been ripped.
Ow.
You've got a lot of Greer. You were pretty hands-on with the autopsy of Squire
The original
Badger.
one
Yeah.
upstairs? Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish to compare with the two bodies?
This might be dumb, and I don't know if I'm as intuitive as this meta-ly, but would I be able to look at the hands of both bodies and determine if they're both the correct handed?
Well, you'd have to have the two bodies next to each other in order to tell that. I'm saying, like, think about the body you observed upstairs. Is there any, like, anything you want to check as far as, like, how accurate they are or whatever?
And then, like, his, like, fur pattern and shit?
Sure. You have a bunch of skills you can use here: perception, investigation, medicine.
I think I'm a little confused, but I will roll one of them. You said I can do insight?
You can roll insight, sure. 16. We'll walk you to it. There was a thing you discovered involving Brockhollow upstairs. Do you remember what it was?
Badger?
Squire Brockhollow.
Squire Badger.
Those are the same person.
Oh.
They call him Squire Badger because he's a badger, and he's the squire of the house. They call him Squire Badger. But his name is Sir William Thornwell Brockhollow, or Squire Brockhollow.
Okay.
It was you. So you were the one who discovered something involving his death.
Yeah, that he had a bullet wound.
He'd had a bullet wound. You go over to the decoy, quote unquote the decoy. Look over. First off, you find out that there is a sewing in the chest. Would Greer put their hands inside of the chest?
Absolutely.
You pull the
It's the
chest
first
apart.
time.
Are you being like clean about it?
Do you know me?
You just
Most I'll do is throw on some gloves.
you see that there's some like medical gloves that somebody's like these almost like dishwashing gloves.
Yeah, they're not even for them. It's for me. I don't want to get blood on my new clothes.
You pull the chest open, this gross crunch as some of the threads are snapping and like whipping about.
That's cool.
You put your hand in, immediately going directly to what you did back upstairs, almost like verbatim, and you pull out a shard of metal.
What's the shape of the shard?
It is a different shape of metal, but it is a shard of metal that is representative of like a piece of shrapnel from a bullet wound.
Okay.
And I think it dawns on you at this point, whoever the mortician is that is creating the decoys had to have known about the Squire Badger's bullet wound.
Right.
But how do they know? And the kids do not.
It's gotta be someone close to Badger. I'm thinking on it. You can move on.
Ambrose. Or Magpie.
Well, go through your list of suspects and think about who fits the bill.
Hawkins.
So I'm gonna send you a message.
Okay.
You know
do
what
the
he
crows-
sounds like?
The crows look like they could be made into a hawk.
No. Crows are like jet black. You know,
Yeah.
Hawkins is like not a bald eagle, but like he's a hawk. You know what I mean? So he's like whites
Yeah.
and browns. Yeah. So you would need birds that are whites and browns. These are black crows.
Messages sent.
Hey, Sully. Can I take a short rest and spend some of my day die?
Sure, you guys can take a short rest if you want. Some of you have some goodies that you have been stashing. If you want to take take a short rest and look into those.
Some of you? Who is some of you?
Yeah.
Detective West, if you recall, you picked up something while you were in the Squire's bedroom.
Oh, is that the letter?
It wasn't a letter. It was more of a ledger.
Oh, I don't remember that.
You pick up a ledger.
It's a thing where Cross is like threatening him or something, right?
So that was the letter that the Squire was writing, and that was in the study, on the ground floor over where the drawing room is. When you and Undergrove went into the Squire's bedroom, you discovered a ledger kind of hidden away by the fireplace. If you want to take a sec, it's like a big ass ledger and like journal kind of thing. If you want to take this short rest to kind of like comb through it, you can.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay.
Don't mind me casually spending all of my hit dice because they keep rolling much better. First one is a goddamn 0. How does that happen?
All right. Well, what did you roll? Oh, you rolled a natural one. Woof. Oh, you hate it. All right. Detective West, you open up the ledger, and it immediately comes to you as soon as you crack it open. The Squire was in leagues of debt. You can see that he's got spending in here that is just huge amounts of money, and eventually leaving the manor, like the Brockhollow Manor, completely broke. And I'm sure it makes you think, like, well, if he has no money, how can he afford to live as he's living right now? You see, suddenly, almost like off the books, not in the ledger, because the ledger would be an official document, but you see that there is a donation form from a mysterious benefactor, a truly incredible amount of money that dates, but this happens all the way, back, 25, 30 years, which would have put him during the time of when Squire Badger was in the military. So the Squire would have either been on leave or literally been in active duty when somebody donated enough money to, live off of for the rest of your life. You also see, as you're coming through here, again, it is kind of like a journal. The Squire's service kind of stops abruptly. One thing you notice is that, he did his whole service, and the medals that he received are none of them involving him being wounded. No Purple Hearts, no Medal of Honors, nothing like that. It's just here's your wings for learning to be an Air Force pilot. Here's your active suit. Here's your medals for your first and second and third tours. They're very, I don't want to say basic, but medals that tons of, people who serve in the military go. You were there when Greer pulled out the bullet wound, and and you were there when Greer was able to identify that it was a bullet from the war. A war that, he would have fought in, or in, during the time, around that time. But if he was never wounded, how did a bullet wound from the war get in his chest? Unless he was still serving, but not officially.
Well, goddamn.
Yes. Crazy. Anybody else want to do anything during this during this downtime, during this little short rest?
Can I get any spells back from a short rest?
You don't. I think you'd have. It's like a class thing on how your spells recharge. You need a long rest. Yeah. Yeah, you see that, Squire, like I said, so you see that Squire Badger was in debt, he was incredible amounts of debt to somebody for, more than a fortune. The bodies don't end up as money coming in anywhere, just, huge amounts of debts to someone, and then there's this letter, like I said, there's this form, this, donation form. Somebody gave him and a shit ton, a crazy amount of money. You also find instructions in that journal to Edgar Undergrove, of where to find Edgar Undergrove, who is recommended to Squire Badger, by Fletcher Cottonbottom. You see that some of his purchases include the Tufting Meadows textile mill, a controlling stake in the London Grazier 3 years ago, just the dirtiest rag in London. Yeah, but the big thing is that you see that Squire Badger has money from the big one that you see is that Squire Badger has money from about 5 years ago from the munitions trading with Fletcher in the war. Yeah. Can you make me an investigation check here, please? I'll say with advantage.
Ooh.
Damn. I rolled a 4 and a 3.
Ew, you really rolled super bad. You rolled a 4 and a 3. Holy Christ.
Yeah, I was never gonna have.
Are you sharing any of
Yeah,
this information with us?
Yeah, so I guess the other thing that you pick up is that you see a ton of money that was paid to Colonel Hawkins is in here over the years. Squire Badger's his deed is in here. His almost like his will and testament is in here. And Hawkins is on the deed. But yeah, there's like something in here. It's almost like it's coded in a way. Some sort of like weird like military code that is some sort of like correspondence between Badger and someone else. But it would be difficult for you to figure it out.
What you looking at over there, Mr. West?
I'll tell him about it.
Can I make that investigation check? Ollie?
What's up? Sorry, I didn't hear you ask me something.
He's telling me about the pamphlet and everything. Can I make that investigation check that he made?
Sure. You read over it, and pretty much everything that's written out, you can make out the same thing. You see that Squire Badger was in with an incredible amount of debt to somebody, but then some faceless figure, like I said, donated a ton of money. And again, that same kind of correspondence, you're unable to, you don't understand, like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, because it's like, it's in that weird, like, military code.
And that's an 18 for that, too. Well, we could always ask Colonel Hawkins why he's in the will, but is anyone else that's at the party named in there?
Yeah, I mean, like, his kids are in there, Constance is in there, Jeremy's in there. You get the feeling it's probably because that's his kids. I would say Undergrove is not in the will. Like, he's not in the deed.
No, you said he was in the ledger.
He is, there is a, bit of information in here on how to find Undergrove. It seems that Fletcher Cottonbottom recommended the work of Edgar Undergrove. He was the one who recommended him to Squire Badger, was Cottonbottom.
Do any of these bodies have dirt on them?
Most of them do, yes. Pretty much all of them do.
And Edgar carries a shovel? Mr. West, I think we just found out who dug up these bodies. And I bet that's what Guilfoyle was being so sneaky about Undergrove being hired for. We need to interrogate Guilfoyle. And, make him tell us why they wanted the bodies dug up.
How did Guilfoyle get involved?
So, way at the beginning, I heard a conversation that they were talking about something that Undergrove was hired to do that they weren't saying and they were being real sketchy about.
Yeah, I got that.
So, that's how Guilfoyle would be involved, because he's the one that knows about all this.
I don't know.
Who was the other one? It was Harding. Who's a turtle. We could always corner Harding, because he's gonna move slower than everyone else, and rough him up a little bit,
Oh, wait.
make him talk.
Who had the letter with the code?
Now you just think everybody in this house is in on this secret?
What?
everybody in the house is in on the murder. That's the hook. Everybody wanted to. Everybody
Well,
killed him.
Well,
Who
what about
has-
this other guy over here? We'll just corner him and beat him up.
Who has the letter with the code from the military?
I don't think you didn't share that with her, did you?
I think we need to talk to Hawkins.
Oh, well, if you did, just saying, Greer was in the military, so they could probably decipher it pretty quick.
Well,
It's up to you.
You being who?
Cody.
I literally just said, here, look at it.
Oh. Cool, I look at it.
Okay. Ooh, baby. You gotta use those resources that are around you. You immediately are able to tell the cipher. Like, immediately you can tell that it is a, it's like a spec ops kind of cipher. It would be like if you were carrying a letter and you were like some sort of courier, if you were to be captured so that they can't decipher it. It's a very specific code, and the only reason you know that is because this is your branch of the military's coding.
Oh, yikes.
The important thing you find is this, which you may have already know, is somebody, the part of the letter involving Edgar, which I'm assuming you were able to figure out, is involved in a plan involving grave robbing. You never see any like money coming in the ledger as far as like buying or selling the bodies, but you can see that there is it's a part of it is a like a almost like a check, like a list of names for like potential recruits to engage in said grave robbing, which you immediately like see flip to the back and you see that recommendation for Edgar Undergrove. He is your grave robber. The question is, huh? Yes. The question as to why doesn't make any sense, but you see that there is a plan for it in here. Because he's not selling the bodies to like medical institutions or anything. He just took the bodies and they went somewhere. Those bodies never show up anywhere on the books. You see the main picture that becomes clear to you over time is that Squire Badger is deeply in debt as he re-entered the military as sort of like a commander back during the Schnauzer War. The same war that you were fighting at the time. Like a couple years ago. He became suddenly, almost overnight, incredibly wealthy during the war. Which, if you're looking at the books, prior to that, it's like a straight downwards spike. And then, like I said, overnight, shoots back up. He suddenly gets incredibly wealthy during the war. And then that wealth got frittered away as this... I'm sorry, so I have that backwards. The wealth got kind of frittered away as the Squire is sort of like, doesn't want to engage in whatever this plan involving grave robbing is. You see that, like, part of that correspondence, whoever he's talking to, as part of the plan, he's kind of like, I'm not with it, and that money starts to dwindle away.
And I can see all of this?
You can read it.
So is this like a journal, or...?
It's essentially an encrypted journal.
How long is
It's pretty long. It's a bunch of like small excerpts. It's not like a big, like giant journal pages. Some of them are letters back and forth to someone else, but some of them are just like notes written here and there. But all of it is in this code, so that's like people can't read it.
And it's handwritten, I assume.
Yes, a lot of it, most of it is all handwritten. You see a few short years ago when you realize that the letters in these ledgers, like book of like creditors coming after him, things that would have made him have no choice but to declare bankruptcy. And that's, of course, like what you see, the hair trigger thing of all of this is that any sane person would have declared bankruptcy. And of all of the, like, all this is that any person would declare bankruptcy, and of course the squire would never do it. The squire sort of, but Jack West realized something during that argument, and is that the squire cares a deep amount about the Brockhollow name. It's one of the reasons why he lashed out at him originally, was because he was saying like, I won't have it. I'm tired of you all walking over me. We Brockhollows don't stand for it. And he pushed him to the ground. So about 2-ish years ago, maybe like a little bit less, debts suddenly are just cleared. There's that overnight part. Just debts, poof, go out of nowhere. They're just cleared. Letters showing that Squire Badger's debts were paid in full just start coming in. But there's no money coming in on the books to explain how these debts would have been paid. So in a ledger, you would write like what you're purchasing or where your income is coming from. That's not in here. The parts of him getting bankrupt, or like where he should have been, like where he lost a ton of money and he should have been bankrupt, are in here. But then eventually you got like all of these debts for, education purposes and all of your different benefactors and stuff like that. Huge mountains of debt. And all of a sudden, just overnight, paid in full, cleared. Paid in full, cleared. Paid in full, cleared. With no record of money coming in. So you see a number of acquisitions, and you begin to see sort of the shape of institutions that the squire was working with. You look at the room and see all of the, like, paraphernalia of the war. You remember that room you passed on the way in here? With all of, like, the art and shit in it? You think about the thing, like, you heard Jeremy say, and when he mentioned the bullet wound, and when he said, I've never heard of father having a war wound. So you look at these stolen art pieces up on the wall, and you think about Reich and Bunny Falls, where you and Cross faced off for the last time with Cotton Bottom. You think about, why would a vet, like a venerated military man, a noble, a squire, not have told his children about a war wound, right? All of these kind of pieces are coming together. And then I think you find, like, you find some real shit buried deep in here. All of the money coming into settling debts. You realize that just like someone paying off his debt with a credit card, just moving the debt from one place to another, taking those debts, like somewhere else. And you think, as Squire Badger was settling his debts with all of these respected institutions, where his debts were really going to Reich and Bunny Falls.
We know that place, right?
You were there.
That was where the war.
No, that's where you almost lost Cross. You two shared one final. It's a nightmare that Cross has all the time. You being his physician, you know that he has a reoccurring nightmare all the time, and that it's one moment in particular where Cotton Bottom handcuffs himself to Cross, and he says, "You've taken everything from me, so I'm going to take something from you." And just before he detonates Reich and Bunny Falls, as you guys close in on him, Cross tackled him off the waterfall. And that's why Cross walks with a cane.
Wait, but it's not just Cross, because he handcuffed him to him. Didn't he knock the other guy off too?
Cross sacrificed himself so that you wouldn't have to die.
Oh, I see.
But when they hit the water, Cross was the only one to reemerge. and thus Cotton Bottom was presumably dead, sucked down by the falls. But you see that during all of this time where all of those debts are going and being cleared, all of the debts are moving to Reich and Bunny Falls. So whoever's in Reich and Bunny Falls, who you see is at the time would have been Cotton Bottom, was taking over the Squire's debts, essentially putting the Squire like in a blackmail position.
Right.
You find the biggest secret in here, combing through the books, and that is when you realize this full story of what happened to Squire Badger. The reason Squire Badger has all of this paraphernalia and why it matches up with Reich and Bunny Falls is because Cotton Bottom was an incredibly wealthy man with a whole bunch of stolen munitions, and somebody had to steal them.
Doesn't explain why he died, though.
You're right. It doesn't explain why he died. Can you roll me an insight check, please?
I would love to roll you an insight check, my friend.
Yes, it's getting juicy in here.
19.
Oh my god. I think that you're thinking about it and you're putting all the puzzle pieces together. You looked across, kind of like almost like he always has the answers for when you find yourself at like a dead end.
Right.
If Cotton Bottom and Squire are working together, and the
Right.
reason that they're working together is because Cotton Bottom is blackmailing Squire Badger.
Right.
They have a plan involving something around this time, right? But the Squire is dead. And
Well,
clearly
presumably.
his double is right here. So presuming that the real Squire is dead, the Squire must have done something to go against the plan. It would be the only reason for Cotton Bottom to kill him.
Or just Cotton Bottom was getting selfish.
And killed him, but made a double?
Fine.
So the Squire must have done something that inevitably ended up with him being killed, as opposed to having his body double dumped and then getting away.
Right. But how do I find out what he, did? Is there any... Can I take a look around?
Say it again?
How do I figure it out?
Figure what out? What he did to get killed?
Yeah, can I look at anything around here? Is there anything that would give me a clue? Would I just know?
You're looking in the
You're the
morgue.
reason he got killed.
Yes, I feel like that's the question you're at.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll find it in the morgue.
Okay.
You're looking
Or
like
the books
it'd be like
that I'm looking in.
this is all past stuff.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with today. It does have stuff to do, but it's like preparation for today.
Okay.
Whatever he did had to have been recent, either yesterday recent or today recent.
Oh, that recent.
Yeah, because all of this planning and stuff. Imagine planning a trip, somewhere, and then the day of the trip, everything gets turned on its head.
Yes.
It would. If you had given if there was a week's notice, right? You would have had time to change and adapt your plan. If the only way for you to not have that time is if there wasn't time, meaning that they did it either today or yesterday. So the question I believe, what's up?
When did we receive our invitation to this party?
You received it a little bit earlier, it was maybe a few days ago, maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, you're not somebody who reads the mail. You know what I mean? You guys are very busy. So it was probably you guys live in a loft where you have an older woman downstairs because she lives on the first floor. You guys live she lives on the ground floor. You guys live on the first floor. She takes your mail all the time and just delivers it upstairs. So it was probably you came home one day and realized this big ass pile of mail.
Right, but I would know the date.
You would know the date.
Are you sharing this information or whatever you're asking, Joe?
I think we're the reason he's dead.
We?
Maybe. Yeah, he invited us. What
Oh,
if
the fact that
we
we
weren't
didn't-
supposed to be here? London's greatest detective and his partner got invited to this night where they're faking a bunch of murders.
Cross,
And
roll
he
me.
wrote a letter.
Ross,
He wrote a letter to
roll
Cross
me an
saying he was
insight,
scared.
Cross.
Ross.
He wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to me saying he was scared, and magically it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Okay, you don't have to roll. Never mind. You said it. You just said it. It makes sense. The letter wasn't, Mr. Cross, I'm afraid. I'm afraid, like an apology. I'm afraid, like, I'm afraid we don't have that today. It was genuinely, Mr. Cross, I'm afraid. The question is, who is the squire afraid of?
And now it all makes sense.
The only person that literally had his life hanging in the balance. The only person that had something hanging above his head. Cotton Bottom.
Was the squire gonna tell Cross about Cotton Bottom?
I feel like you're asking the right questions now.
Yes, probably.
Oh my god. So what was that? His blackmail back on him? Because he can just say very well, like, "Oh, I'm gonna give all the information to a detective, and you'll be fucked."
Maybe. You don't know, maybe. But I think that it further reinforces that if Squire Badger is afraid of Cotton Bottom, that means that Cotton Bottom is alive.
Oh, well, duh. How did he get in, or who did he hire to kill the Badger?
So wait, I just thought of something. I don't want to derail anything, but it's just something for when we go to leave this freezer. We previously were afraid to use the elevator, but we have just, kind of used it. So can we, when we leave here, maybe go to the roof and try to find the guy on the roof?
I mean, last time we did that, my ass got shot. I'm a little nervous.
I was thinking the same thing though.
See, that's where I was trying to go. Also asked if that video is 3D.
We're eating pizza. I want to clarify. Were we just talking about going to the roof?
Yes.
So like,
You guys crack this fucking this theory wide, like immediately, like stuff starts making sense. You start cracking it. Who would be the closest to the elevator right now of you guys? You're all in the. I assume you're all in the morgue, unless one of you is walking out into the hallway.
I think reasonably, considering I was like literally frostbit and I was spending my hit dice to recover HP, it would make sense that I would be in the hallway trying to warm up.
Okay.
Well, what about me?
I was just about to say that. Can the both of you roll a perception check, please?
What about me? That's how he should sound.
Bumba. Please don't be low. This is important. Hey.
Ooh, baby.
Oh wow.
Oh, what?
Undergrove, are you... Edgar, are you moving... +4, it's all good. Are you moving silently upstairs? Like, are you drawing... You're obviously not drawing attention to yourself, but are you, like, sneaking around?
Like, I'm not... Yeah.
You find your way over, like, moving from the kitchen. You're over by the cellar. You're moving from the kitchen. You hear this loud, suddenly, like, it is the voice of the police growing, like, suddenly, like, really aggressive. Cross, you hear it up the elevator shaft. You hear shouting from the police up the elevator shaft going like, all right, listen up. We heard the elevator moving again. Somebody here is helping the villain. He's like, helping that villain Cross. And we're gonna start taking prisoners and getting the information out of you the hard way if we need to. It looks like, from your perspective, Undergrove, the police are now threatening the guests of Loam Hall to find who's working with who they have concluded is Edmund Cross.
The quote-unquote dirty police, right?
Yes. The quote-unquote the dirty police. Yeah. So you see that. Anybody who's in the morgue, roll a perception check, please.
It'd still be me, right?
And yeah, it's anybody who's in the morgue.
Oh! Sorry, what was that?
God damn.
Here's everything.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you see that, for starters, you see that, you find like a painter's cloth draped over a series of small containers. As you open the containers, you smell like a smell of blood in them. These containers are like near a small little Bunsen burner. There are some like set dressing elements. Whoever's been like, you find that there's like another room. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The trap door. You find the trap door. Okay. You find the trap door. Would you go into the trap door?
Just me?
Yes. Okay. You head down a couple of stairs. You find a secret room hidden, like the thing that it's a staircase that leads down into one of the wine casks, one of those big ass wine casks. There's a hidden door in the wine cask. You open it up. You are in the cellar. You see a cloth, like a painter's cloth, draped over a bunch of containers that smell deeply of like blood. These contain, like I said,
Do you know what kind of blood?
what do you mean? What kind of blood?
What animal?
No.
Container.
Yeah, like I said, so these containers are like small. There's like a Bunsen burner there. There's, like I said, somebody is dressing a set here. Whoever's been staging the murders, as far as you can tell, you've been being set up, or whoever's doing these murders or staging them or whatever, is setting one up right now in the cellar. And it doesn't look like they weren't ready for anyone to find the two bodies you see are now down there, which are Jeremy and Osmond. Osmond's his husband.
Oh, right. Because gays don't exist.
You see, like I said, you see a little bit of the work that's being held down there. Work that would, like, the big thing is that you notice, you see this is huge evidence that these murders are being staged.
I was about to be like, can I pull up my camera?
Yeah, so, yeah, wow, okay.
Is there anything around me, or can I make a check? If there is anything around me that I can take that is small enough to conceal on my persons, but that will be proof, or at least enough for, like, interest?
That's a tough one. So, what, like what?
I don't know, like, if there was a, say, gun with fingerprints, obviously that's not it, but something that I can take that will give me hard proof to at least get someone to inquire.
Small that you could conceal, not really. This is all about the Big Show. It's all about the Big Show. You know that wrestler? Or Big Show was a wrestler, yeah.
Yeah, just a big dude.
It looks like the whole point of this is to just look like this big ass occult mess. The bodies are being laid out as like a giant gore fest. There isn't a gun, there isn't a weapon. You remember seeing the crime scene upstairs, and that is that like it looks like they're trying to make it look like Cross can command the dead and like ghosts and stuff like that. So there is no physical evidence other than the fact that you're looking at a crime scene that's not done yet.
I know. What do I do with that in this century? Ugh.
Did I watch her go down the trap door?
Would you be sneaking away, or would you just go down?
I would have just went down.
Okay.
I would be sneaking down.
So you definitely see that Greer goes down into the trapdoor.
Can I roll a stealth to try and sneak behind her?
Sure, go ahead and roll stealth. Damn. Okay. You see that Greer sneaks down or like walks downstairs. Like Greer has discovered a trap door, opens the trap door, cautiously walks down, and the door at the end opens, and it's the tap of like a giant wine cask that's in the cellar. Like you realize you're in the cellar.
Yes.
Yeah, but like, so, do I see the bodies then too then?
Yeah, you see that the two bodies that are down there.
Okay, then I'm just gonna sit in the shadows and wait for Greer to do something.
Alrighty. Anyone else?
That as a no.
I mean, what was the point of my perception?
You
Hearing the cops, right?
you hear the cops, but you like you're behind one of the doorways. Like it's an open doorway, but you're like kind of tucked away on the wall there. But you can hear them. They haven't made you yet.
Am I like hiding from them right now?
Yes,
In the kitchen.
correct. They're not in the kitchen. They're in the drawing room, starting to round people up. You hear them over in the drawing room, like starting to yell and like grip people up and throw them like all into like a big mass gathering.
And I'm the only one in the kitchen, right?
Correct.
Is the elevator here?
The elevator is there, but the shaft is there.
What?
The elevator isn't there, but the shaft like is there.
You said the elevator is there, but the shaft is there, and I was like, whoa.
Can I ask a quick question?
What's up?
Did Detective West ever close the grate when he jumped down to the elevator?
Wes, you ever close the grate?
No, sir.
So the shaft is open. Peculiar, isn't it?
Peculiar.
I'm gonna call it up.
You press the call button, it doesn't come up.
Can I crank it up?
There doesn't seem to be a way to call the It's weird. You look down, you see it's stuck.
But it's like ropes, right?
Yeah.
Can I just pull it up?
Are you that strong?
I'm a gorilla.
Roll me a strength check.
The fucking freight elevator. Are you ballistic?
You pull it, and you feel the weight of those gears working against you from pulling it up.
Yeah, it takes like a crane to do that shit.
I didn't say roll a second time.
You just so you know you're rolling a save right now as well.
Same thing.
Is it?
Oh, mine is like that. But okay. It sounds like the cops are still up there, like upstairs, right?
Oh yeah. At this point, you hear them like, one of you knows where Edmund Cross is. One of you knows where that bastard raccoon and his companions are. And how do you get downstairs without the elevator? Like, and you hear them like, how do you get downstairs without the elevator? Smack! Just smacks one of the guests. A loud whine comes over from the side. You hold on, Edgar. You hear someone says like, "Sir, I believe she knows the house best." And you see that one of the guests points to Mrs. Mosley. You see one of them, like one of the police, runs over, grabs Mrs. Mosley by the neck, lifts her up, and he goes, "You're gonna tell us everything." You see she cries out in this moment. You know the how done it. You know that there's been a plot that stretches months, if not years, back. You know the motives of Squire Badger to help Fletcher Cottonbottom, who he's been so indebted to. You know, Fletcher Cottonbottom is somewhere in all of this. He's somewhere in all of this. The problem you face are many, because right now, you and like some of like you specifically seem to be like one of the people involved with the murders. You seem to be some sort of suspect. And the rest of you guys who were in the morgue are even suspect because you are missing. And the guests will not help you if you are not, like, if there are no, if the constables are present. They're not going to help you. So your job is to somehow thwart, get around, or defeat the constables. And find a way to clear, specifically, like, Edmund and Greer's name. Edmund and Alex's name. By association. Well, if you recall, during the murder in the pool, the billiards room, there are 2 giant kangaroo footprints through the wall. Like somebody kicked the...
Anyone could have done that. Any other kangaroo.
Yeah. Yes. So, and the probably the only way to do that is to prove who the actual murderer is. And you have to do it in a way that the murderer doesn't just run off into the night. You have to find some way to get them while actually getting them from this short list of people that you have. And finally, you also have to, like, figure out, where that person that you need to get is. Yeah, you've got a couple of different hints here. Remember, like, the circuit board that was in the Squire's bedroom, as well as, like, the one in the bathroom, the bunch of different, like, abbreviations for different parts of the house, like what they connect to. You're at the cellar. You can probably, you're at the cellar, Greer. It seems like if you're quiet enough, if you and your party are quiet enough, you can probably sneak out of the storm doors, and, like, circle around by the docks and find yourself back at the front of the manor.
And I would know how to, like, the directions to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do we have to make a group stealth check?
You're going to be rolling a group stealth check.
I relay
Are you
everything.
all trying to sneak out of the cellar?
I'm hiding in the trapdoor staircase at the moment, waiting for her to do something.
I relay what you just, like, told me, but, like, to them, and ask basically if they agree with trying to get out of here and if they're all willing to help me in the stealth check.
You say that, Cross, you come back into the morgue as a Greer calls for everybody with the information that you just heard upstairs.
They're holding the guest hostage. If we haven't moved, we gotta make it now.
So since she walked past me, can I go pick the lock on the cellar door?
Sure. There's no lock on the cellar door. It's just like a big old piece of wood that keeps the doors from being opened. You would just have to remove the barricade.
Oh, that'll be hard. Oh. It's a good thing you did all that work.
Do I need another stealth check to do that quietly?
Yes.
No.
You can roll it with advantage since you were already stealth.
Thank you. I was about to roll another one to see if I go blind. That's not better.
Not better.
Not a nat one. That's what
You, as you walk up the stairs, you hear somebody is trying to take the wood off the storm doors.
From the outside.
No, from the inside. The wood's on the inside of the cellar. So somebody's in the cellar right now trying to take the wood off.
Isn't it right in front of me?
It's like literally next to you. Like you turn around to go like back up the stairs to like tell people like, hey, we can sneak around and like circle by the docks real like and get back to the front of the cellar or get back to the front of the manor. And as you're saying that, you hear somebody's pulling the wood off.
And I turn around and...
You turn around and you see Jeeves is behind you taking the wood off already.
my
And he's
God.
like, and is loud.
I'm gonna watch
The
it.
guards are on the second floor.
I'm gonna do one of these guys, like hold myself against the stairs, just very much like, ooh, and I'm gonna just watch it.
Okay.
Oh.
You're starting to do that. Edgar, what's your move?
Send you a message.
All these damn messages flying around.
You're just jealous.
I mean, yeah.
Can I make a perception?
You don't have to. Your passive perception is higher.
Yep. Sure is.
I guess I will start heading towards the cellar.
You guys who were in the cellar, holding open the casket, the cask door,
What?
like
Wait, is the door already open?
to the one that goes.
Walk into the cellar, right?
So you'd have to go down into the cellar to really see it, but you definitely see like the feet of somebody over by the like. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's kind of at the end of the room. You see, like you open the door. You don't see anybody, but you definitely hear somebody is down there trying to open, like get the wood off the door.
So wait, who do I see?
You don't see anybody. He's like really deep in the cellar, where the cellar storm door is. He's really deep in the cellar, so you
know
can't.
where I'm entering?
It's not that you can't see him because it's too dark. The angle of the stairs don't show you the back of the cellar.
Oh, okay, alright, okay. Alright, well, I'm just gonna... Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go back upstairs. And I'm gonna head up to the police.
Okay, you head over to the police. Jeeves, the wood comes off. The doors are unlocked.
Did I hear him come down the steps because he's a big gorilla?
He didn't come down the stairs. He just opened the door and closed it.
I heard the door though, right?
He did not stealth, so yes, you would have heard the door close.
If we're gonna go, we gotta go now. Someone's coming.
Fuck alright. And I just start running.
All right.
Right after her.
Storm doors come open. You guys start running out. What about Cross?
Wait.
What about West?
Yeah, like we were just called to, right?
Yeah, you see that like you guys are all like, if we're making a move, we gotta do it now. Especially since the guests are like you know, the collateral damage. I think you're all in the same mindset that like whatever move we're gonna make, it's got to be now.
Wait,
Okay.
didn't somebody find like the supposed next crime scene?
Yes.
Yeah, the cellar.
Was it finished?
No.
Okay.
Should we maybe try to have someone hide by it and wait for the killer?
Nose goes.
This is yeah, nose goes, but we can't see anybody's noses. Yep.
Yeah, my
Really?
finger's already on. I win.
So here's the thing. This is the moment. This is the moment we're at. I need you guys to like literally pull the trigger right now. Like that's how like sensitive time is right now. So whatever your decisions are, like I need them like right now. You've got like very little time for discussion.
I'm staying by. I'm gonna try to hide.
How fast reasonably could I take the bodies to ruin the crime scene that's in action and just hide them back in the room?
You'd have to walk them up you'd have to pull them up the stairs, and these are these are the epitome of dead weight dead bodies. For like
What if I took them
listen,
outside?
Jeremy's a badger and it is much larger than a raccoon.
So we
Like-
we only need to move like one.
What if I took them outside?
Set the plan in motion. I can help.
You could take them outside. You could do that.
Somebody help me with the bodies.
I start
I
helping.
am not
You start pulling them
strong.
out. is somebody holding the? Jeez, are you holding the door for them, or are you?
Yeah.
Okay, he's holding the door.
So,
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to tell the police put Mrs. Mosley down.
You see that you hear her like you heard the deer. It goes. If she's gonna lead us to that villain cross, we're gonna have to use her to our He goes. You see, we have the authority to use her.
Please. He doesn't know anything.
You hear Doctor you see that one of the mice maids goes, well, she's been here the longest. I can imagine that she's got to know something. And like everybody is you without even rolling an insight, you can tell that all of these guests are terrified. They would rather give up like one sacrificial lamb than all of them like go down with her.
With everybody in the room, so what? Like everybody's in the room, right?
All of the guests, aside obviously missing Squire Badger, Constance, Dr. Magpie, and Lady Lucretia. They're not in the room.
But Harding and fucking everyone else is.
Yes, everyone else is.
So you said one of the mice said that, though, right?
Yes. You see that like the two mice maids, the two mice maids are like holding on to each other and cowering.
I'm just gonna like look at them and like, and didn't you take care of Squire Badger every day as much as Mosley?
You see that she
interrogated just as harshly.
She says, we just do the linen, sir. We just do the linen, and we cleans up the kitchens and the couches. We keep the rooms looking nice. We don't know nothing about no elevator or secret doors.
I have something that I'm gonna try here. Hollywood. You could see my character, right?
Yes.
Would Gift of Gab work right here? If I wanted to, have somebody admit something.
Just did.
So you would have to alter it so that they forget something that you said.
I can't.
It's like, do you know what a compliment sandwich is?
What about suggestion?
You know what that you do know what it is? So the way that Gift of Gab works is that you would say like, "Hey, you've got nice shoes. You're a sack of shit, but you've got a really nice, you've got a really nice vertical." And the way that Gift of Gab works is they forget that you said that they're a sack of shit, but what they actually heard you say was, you've got a really nice vertical. That's how Gift of Gab works.
What about suggestion?
What would be your suggestion?
To start interrogating the mice.
So you suggest that they start interrogating the mice?
Yeah.
Alrighty. What is your spell save DC, sir?
I don't know.
It'll be 8 plus your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. 12. I'm going to make sure that this roll is in front of the board. Dun, dun, dun. All right. You're going to try to suggest You're going to cast suggestion onto one of the police officers in order to start interrogating the mice instead. These officers get a +3 to this roll, and I will be rolling that now. Here we go. That is a 13. You suggested that they start interrogating the mice. The one of the cops steps in front of one of the cats that's holding on to Mrs. Molesley, puts his hand on his holster, doesn't draw it, but puts his hand on his gun, and it goes, "Now, sir, you're aiding the police investigation. I recommend that you take a seat, enjoy the hors d'oeuvres and the free drinks."
I can only do that once, huh? Now can I get some gas to make the shit that I suggested?
What would you say instead?
Well, alright, so I guess the way I would have worded it was like, well, why don't you put down like Mrs. Molesley and start like interrogating like, you know, the mice, and then I've been like, hey, couldn't you just interrogate Mrs. Molesley a little bit more nice?
Could you just be like a little bit easier? You see that the guy on his gun goes, you see that another one of the, like this little dog, this little chihuahua of an officer walks over. He goes, Nettles, you are being a little aggressive. Maybe we'll dial it back a little bit. You see Nettles, who's like this white cat, that's like almost like Cheshire cat, but like fully white, who's like holding on. Who's just holding on to Mrs. Molesley by her neck, sets her down, but like is still holding on to her collar, and it goes, "All right, anybody else want to be a hero today? Or are we all gonna play nice and sit down while the police do their investigation?
I'm gonna go get a banana, and I'm going back to the kitchen.
Police dogs.
They're dogs and cats.
Yeah, no.
Alone in the world with a little cat dog. We definitely don't have the copyrights to that song. You guys come outside carrying the bodies. You drop them. It is thunderstorm, rain outside. You guys are being absolutely drenched, and you actually like legitimately start to see something interesting, and that is that probably the reason that there was a morgue in the first place. Yes, you would need all of these parts to make your decoys, but also you would need to keep them cold before they started to expire. As soon as they get into the rain and that warm kind of rain from the thunderstorm starts to hit them, they start to like almost fall apart. Like the decaying skin and stuff is like really soft. It has no proteins and things like that are strengthen the skin. It starts to almost like peel, almost like goop off of it. And you see that they're like legitimately, they're not filled with like, pumping organs. They're filled with like almost like formaldehyde and stuff to keep them from rotting internally and smelling bad. But the external stuff is still like gooping and falling off and shit as you're holding these two corpses. Crazy. You guys are at the bottom of the hill of the manor as you guys come out of the storm drain. Giant, obviously like the giant manor that's built into the hill. You guys can slink through these dark woods here. In order to get around, you have to go through the woods. But it takes you over by the docks if you wish. Well, that's where it would dump you guys out. Crazy. So you guys are doing that. Is there anything you guys want to do in this moment? Remember, you guys are kind of like, you guys are in a weird spot where it's kind of like in order for you to make a move, you've got to make a move right now. Like, you have very little time to like really draw out a plan, but if there's any checks you guys want to make, if there's any like, any like pre-gaming you want to do, you can absolutely do it now.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sam first. You spoke first. What did you say?
Can I shut that like the closure to the elevator?
Yeah, you close the little gate to the lift. And Cross. What were you saying?
So you said that Loam Hall is like built into a hill, right?
Yes.
Is it possible to just get to the roof, or is the roof too high?
So, the roof is way too high. Because it's not a traditional roof. It doesn't just go to a flat surface at the top. It is still like the hill. The big reason I'm saying you can't is because of how heavy it's storming outside. The rivers are literally like overflowing and shit. Like
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to make sure that, like, you know, being on the roof is still not a viable escape option for whoever, you know, put a bullet in my fucking chest. Because
I'm gonna go over to the garden shed and get a ladder.
Okay. The garden shed isn't in the wood. It's not by it's not in the woods. It's not by the dock. Roll me an investigate or roll me a perception check, please.
I hate myself.
Yikes. Yeah, you're out here looking. The rain. It's a thick rain, making just a blanket of like downpour outside. You know, there's a moment where you're almost like you get turned around while you're like running through the woods and all this rain. That you're like, there should be a garden shed up here, and then you realize it's on the opposite side of the house. So you'd have to literally like go behind the house into that opposite corner to get to the garden, in order to like get to the garden shed.
There goes that idea.
I am gonna recall a throw-off sentence that I think somebody told me much earlier in the campaign. I can't remember if it was actually Edgar or if it was just one of the guests, like Miss Mosley. Somebody told me that they thought that they saw Cotton Bottom by the docks.
That was me.
That was you.
No, that
So
was...
I would like to investigate the
You
docks.
saw him outside the window.
By the docks.
Yes. Sorry.
I
My bad.
saw him by the dock.
Everybody who saw Cotton Bottom saw him standing on the docks.
I would like to investigate the
We
docks.
also we found the hologram thing that projects an image to the docks.
Do you recall? I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you this, Cody. Do you recall what the docks switchboard was connected to?
The bathroom.
Yes, it was connected to the bathroom. Do you recall the other rooms that they were connected to? Like, so it was connected to the bathroom, and it was a three-way switch for that network. The bathroom, it was the bathroom, the docks, and one other place.
Oh, well then it would be the master bedroom. Oh, Brockhollow's bedroom.
Okay.
The tower.
Yes, it was the tower. The Brockhollow's bedroom was the like control center. So like that whole network goes to Brockhollow's room. I guess that was bad phrasing on my part. Yes, the network with the docks, the bathroom. The last one was the tower, which is where you see that giant kind of tower sticking up from the top, like a big ass chimney from the hill. So if Cotton Bottom projected his image from the bathroom, and he's no longer there, and he's not at the docks now that you're here, there's only one place he could be.
Dun, dun, dun.
We gotta climb up the side of the building, don't we?
Or we just go back inside and go up the elevator.
Any of you guys on the dock, go ahead and make me a perception check. Edgar, you as well, make me a perception check.
Did we all follow?
No, Edgar's in the house still.
So am I in the dock?
Right,
Yes.
By the elevator.
You wanted a what?
Perception checks.
Will it come up now that I shut the door?
No, the keys are in the elevator to move it.
Yeah, out of character. the elevator key, when it's turned to 6 o'clock, it makes the elevator operate up and down as normal. When it's turned to 3 o'clock, the elevator stops. It only goes to one floor, and that is the secret wing. And it doesn't leave the secret wing until somebody gets in it from the secret wing and presses up or down. Okay.
Definitely ain't pulling it up. Huh.
For sure not pulling it up. Cross, Jeeves, and Greer, you all see, you guys look down, you see that, almost like under the manor, because you guys, again, you're down by the docks. You look straight ahead, you see that, posted down by the boathouse of the docks is one of the constables.
Posted meaning
What do I
watching
see
the
then?
area.
He's standing guard by the boathouse. Edgar, you start to see that at this point the officers have started to take a bunch of the guests and lock them in rooms and whatnot, as they start to, like, you know, move between any of them.
That doesn't feel very legal.
You see that you've left, so you walked off to the kitchen. Greer, you look up in the window, up in the front of the manor. You see one of the constables is dragging Mrs. Molesley across the top floor. You guys are now by the docks. You can see up. You can look up and see across the windows. You see one of the guards dragging her through by the front door and walking up the stairs to the residential wing.
Like she's dead dragging her?
No, not dead dragging her, but like in a very aggressive way. Like he's not like walking with her. He's like pulling her around. Yeah.
Is there anyone stationed on the top of the roof?
It currently doesn't look like it. It's also incredibly hard to tell. The only reason you can see the guy by the boathouse is because he's like almost under a roof, so the rain is like not hitting where he's at. You see he's out there smoking a cigarette.
Quick question. Is there reasonable cover towards the boathouse?
The rain, so you guys can like you guys can definitely all go towards the boathouse, but I think that you guys are realizing that in order for this plan to work, one of you needs to get the elevator so that you can go to the roof / the tower. If you're going to the boathouse for whatever's there, you know, somebody's gonna have to do that. If any of you want to rescue Mrs. Molesley, one of you has to go back into the house, probably through the front door. So this is going to be probably like kind of a moment.
See with my perception.
You see that Mrs. Molesley's starting to get dragged upstairs. Like you see that so there's 5 officers. You see 3 of them are dragging various guests to rooms, like throwing them in there, locking the doors. One of the guests is dragging Mrs. Molesley upstairs, like legitimately like dragging up, like roughing her up, dragging her up the stairs. The last officer is standing outside by the boathouse.
So, like, I'm a little torn, because part of me is like, damn, it sure would be poetic if Cross went up the elevator to confront Cottonbottom. The other part of me is like, damn, I already got shot going up that elevator. And I'm already wounded. I don't think I can take another hit like that again and even have a chance of doing anything. So
I'll go.
who? Okay.
I'll go.
Are you combat oriented?
Nope.
Nope.
Then maybe
Greer.
maybe you shouldn't go. Maybe you should send. We should send Greer, because Greer actually went up there and survived for a start.
Well, so did I, but he missed me.
He
So,
did miss you.
what if I rolled one of the gurneys into the elevator and used it as a shield for the gun and then just dropped it on him?
This is where Sully goes, you can certainly try.
Yeah, this is fair.
You guys got a bunch of pads that need to be like.
Got the whole fucking floor pointless.
I'm gonna head back to the elevator.
I think I'm gonna take the docks. I think that's my best bet because I think going back in the house now with a bunch of people convinced that I'm the bad guy is also gonna be suicide. Because God forbid the guests stop me as well as the cops.
So Jeeves gives a nod. He sneaks back off into the woods, disappears under the cover of rainfall. Jeeves, your suit, by the way, like, keep the weight down from all the water as you sneak back into the cellar. Close the doors behind you. Cross. You sneak back off, heading towards.
I'm putting the wood board up too.
You put the board up. You start heading back towards the docks. You're gonna either have to walk across the dock, which they will get a perception check from you, but it will be like it's just a flat roll, or you can try to like swim across. It's not far, but you'd have the cover of the water swimming across. That is an athletics check, but they will be rolling at disadvantage.
I have to think. So, it's raining.
It is storming out there.
I'm already wet. Going back inside. If I'm already wet, it's an athletics check if I swim. My athletics is literal dog shit. I think my odds are better if I just stealth and try to just take the dock.
Sounds. Hey, whatever you want to do. You're doing that. Detective West, what are you thinking?
I believe Detective West is taking a quick.
Yeah, he said he was listening, but he don't have a mic.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. Okay, so we'll come back to them. We'll come back to him. Yeah, you see that he's one of them is dragging in fact it's one of the like larger dogs, this big ass pit bull, the one that was like threatened you with the gun, by the way, the big ass pit bull.
Why is it gonna be a pit bull?
Who's dragging?
Just saying golden retrievers have more aggressive energy than pit bulls.
You want to be a golden retriever? No. Big ass golden retriever dragging
He's got,
Mrs.
like,
Mosley.
a big burly beard, with, like long hair golden retriever.
It's like braided. Dragging Mrs. Mosley upstairs. You see he drags him to one of the like guest bedrooms, throws her inside, slams the door behind him. Are you doing this stealthy? Like, are you sneaking upstairs?
Yeah, I'll sneak.
Give me a stealth check.
Cause alright. Stealth, you said?
Yes. Oh, you are a fucking ghost. You see that like corner of your eye as you're eating that banana, and for the first time, Edgar does not finish it. You see he's only about halfway through. Pulls it upside down, like drops it into the trash bin. You see like eyes beginning to glow, using your bard subclass being able to like talk with the dead and shit. Just glowing blue eyes as he steps back into the darkness and is fucking gone, baby. Like a shadow is sneaking up the stairs, and you see that the door, as you arrive at that door that is closed, you hear just loud smacks as whoever is in there, like the policeman that's in there interrogating Mrs. Mosley. Where is he? Smack! He goes, you hear like, oh, please stop hitting me! I don't know what you want! He goes, where the bloody hell is Cross? Smack! How do you get downstairs? Smack! Inside.
Am I in the room with the door closed?
You're in the hallway. So this is the residential wing. It's a big hallway with a bunch of doors on both sides. You're in front of Mrs. Mosley's door. Well, not in front of it. You're off to the side in the shadow. Okay. Like the door is like directly to your right.
All right. Well, I want to like go in. Wait, hold on. Which room is it?
It doesn't look like it's any room of note, like of notice.
Okay. I was like secret passage. Secret passage.
I'll tell you what. It is Mrs. Mosley's bedroom. I'll let you have it.
So, is anybody in
the squire's bedroom?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it, and the doors are still like slightly ajar from where, like how you left them. So like
Yeah.
you could even like sneak in. And you don't have to open it and make the door make that like click sound of you like turning the handle.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah, you know
sneak
where I'm
in,
going.
close it behind you. You walk over to the fireplace, move the grate, and you are in that tunnel between the fucking walls, baby. Like giant gorilla snug in between the walls. You walk over, you see this paper thin wall with the two eyes in it. With the two eyes in it that look through the mirror in Mrs. Mosley's bedroom. You're like looking through the mirror at what's going on inside. You see that the cop is like legitimately like grabbing Mrs. Mosley by like the coif of her shirt, and it's just like these huge like these huge broadsides of smacking her across the face. You see that like her glasses are like one of the lenses is like cracked and broken. They're like crooked on her face. These tiny elderly like mole woman, like barely conscious. As he's almost like he's just screaming at her, knowing she won't answer.
Is he facing me or?
No, his back is to you.
All right, so all right, can I like silently push this open to get behind him?
Oh yeah, with a 20, you push on it. There's a little as it separates from the wall, and you start to move it to the side. And I'm gonna explain what happens. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna explain what happens. You tell me what you do to this guy. I'm gonna do all this from the perspective of the barely conscious Mrs. Mosley.
Oh no!
The room is not lit. It's not lit very well. It's pretty dark. It's on the cusp of like a pure darkness, as the window to her right occasionally lights up with these big flashes of white lightning outside. One frame is pure darkness, the face of the golden retriever looking at her. The white black goes white again, and the wall has started to shift to the side. White goes to black, goes back to white. It is just the silhouetted figure of this almost 7-foot tall gorilla standing in the passageway between the walls, light eyes blue alight in the shadows. Goes back to black, goes back to white. There is nothing. The wall has returned. Goes back to black, goes back to white, and the gorilla is now fully over, like looking down over this golden retriever.
All right, so I need to do this. I need to do this to where there's no noise. So I'm going to take my shovel
Oh shit.
Doesn't feel quiet at all.
and like hold it with both hands, so like going crossways, and like go over its head and then up behind its neck, and just start pulling it real tight so like can't make any noise.
Oh god. So wait, what are you're doing what?
Like, all right, so I'm behind the golden retriever.
Him with the shovel.
I'm not going to smack him with the shovel because that's gonna make noise. I'm going to like choke him with it.
Roll me an attack. Go ahead and roll me an attack with your shovel. I'll say what. If you're not hitting him with the shovel, go ahead and roll me a athletics check, please.
Thanks. Okay.
What about our strength? Because if he's
With
holding it in the
advantage?
room-
Oh yeah, for sure with advantage.
Oh, never mind.
Hey.
Athletics scales with strength.
Okay.
Wow.
You see that Mrs. Mosley is looking off to the side, like she's looking at you, right? You see that she's looking at you. The golden retriever whips his hand back, getting ready to slap her again. Sees her looking off to the side, turns as you raise the shovel above your head. Huh?
In complete darkness.
In complete darkness, lightning comes back up. He turns around and sees you, throws her, goes to try to dodge. He doesn't get to attack you back as he throws Mrs. Mosley across the room, but he does try to attempt to make a run for it. You have one more shot as he opens the door and is about to head right out.
I want to grab him and throw him back into the literally like I want to try to like just grab the scruff of this fucking butt and literally just whip it 180 degrees behind me back into the tunnel.
Oh my god. Go ahead and give me another athletics check. Go ahead and give me another athletics check, please.
Advantage or no?
I'm gonna say no since he knows you're there now.
I don't need it.
Oh my god! You see that he darts out into the hallway, grabs onto the banister, and just before he can say anything, Gorilla Arm comes out, grabs him by the scruff, pulls him back in, and it looks like a horror movie. As you pull him inside, slam the door, a bunch of arms from ghosts that haunt Loam Hall reach out of the passage, grab onto him, like around his mouth, his head, his body, constrict him and contort him to himself, pull him back in. You don't even have to grab it as the wall slams shut like a possessed door. Boom! Slammed on the inside. You just hear the muffled screams of some ruffian immediately are cut short as lightning strikes again. It is just...
My jaw is dropped if I actually see that.
You hear like the voices from the outside, from like just from the walls are just like, thank you.
Jesus. What the... Oh my god, I thought we were trying to solve a murder, not call Ghostbusters.
The door is closed. The sound of you are completely masked by the sound of lightning as it goes off, the lightning and thunder as it goes off. Mrs. Molesley, again, who is barely conscious, like huge bruises all over her face. You know, she's got like these kind of sunken eyes. One of her eyes is kind of swollen as she is like kind of cradled up in your arms. You see that she looks at you and she goes, "Oh, Mr. Undergrove, can always count on you to be my hero." And you see like a single tear falls from her eye.
No, Mrs. Molesley. I just had to do it myself. No, I'm kidding.
I had to snap. No.
I just had to do it myself. No, Mrs. Molesley. No need for crying. I want to leave her here, but not after what that just happened. Like, I want to be like, just stay quiet and stay low in here. But like, the walls are eating people now. Like, I don't. We gotta get out of here.
Well, you see that the lightning flashes. You get a look down at the docks. You see a bunch of your, I'll say this like loosely, it'll be kind of up to you how you see. I'm going to use the term companions, have started to, like, they are outside the manor, and they are starting to descend on the house. You see that. We cut over to Godfrey, who's locked the cellar door, and he's starting to sneak back up through the morgue. Godfrey, you going in through the cellar means, are you going in back through the secret door of the morgue to get the elevator?
Yes.
Okay, you head up to the morgue, you go into the elevator.
Wait. Before I'm going into that elevator, I'm throwing one of the bodies off one of the gurneys and rolling back into the elevator with me.
You're rolling the gurney. I thought you were talking about you were rolling the body. I was like, you roll a body the whole way into the fucking okay. So you take one of the gurneys, you roll it into the elevator with you. You do that. Are you waiting for some kind of cue before you hit the elevator?
No. Once I get that to the elevator, I'm standing it up straight, and then I'm pushing the button to go all the way up, and hiding and like crouching at the bottom of the gurney, hidden.
Okay, you press up. The elevator, which you guys start to hear, powers on. Well, Edgar, you hear this. The elevator powers on. It goes back to the first floor, the floor that you're on.
I mean, it's not Mrs. Molesley. I gotta go, but I'm speechless after I saw that.
You see that like you're like leaning over your giant gorilla head. She takes her tiny little hand and pats you on the top of your head. She goes, "Oh, no, it's okay. I've got a couple of scones hidden in here, so I'll be all right." You see that she like goes under like you see that she's got like a stash of like sweets in her room, kind of like hidden in a little like wrapped up and hidden in like a pillowcase. It's like a fake pillow that goes like on her rocking chair. It's not really a pillow. It's like a stash for her sweets. As she says, she goes, "Now go on and be a hero, dearie."
I have one of those.
She gives you one. She gives you one.
What is it?
It's a scone.
Oh, alright.
The whole pastry out of a.
But like it is a big gorilla hand. It looks like it's like made for dolls. And it's so small.
It's so
You
small.
have to hold it with just his 2 fingers.
You fucking throw it down. You step out in the hallway. You see that the elevator has come.
Oh, I guess I can't get that gun.
Yeah, you can't get the gun. The elevators.
It's either gun or scone, and you made your decision.
You made your choice. Elevators come back to the first floor. You see that it stops, and there's a gurney inside of it.
For a second, I thought you said girly, and I was like, what?
Is that it? Just the gurney?
It's just a gurney.
Alright, well, I'm gonna try to get over there, to the elevator.
Can I make a stealth to try and hit the button before he starts moving?
That would be a. Ooh.
Or that'd be
Sleight of hand?
I think sleight of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not trying to hide it, right?
Yeah, that's the point. Like, I know I'm on the first floor, and I'm trying to hit the button without anyone to see it. Like, regardless if you're standing there or not, I'm just trying to get to the top without being noticed.
Go. Roll me a perception check, please, Edgar.
Where are you at?
You see that the elevator comes up. There's a gurney behind in it, and you see that as it comes to chukung, like it comes to a stop. You see that you hear a click. You don't. It's really quick. You hear a click, but somebody like something presses the button. Somebody's starting to call the elevator back downstairs. If you're gonna get into that elevator, you gotta go right now.
I'm going. Wait,
because
I'm going up to the tower, not downstairs.
You're going up to the tower.
Yeah.
All right, you can go to the tower. It starts to go upstairs, but the gate isn't closed on the first floor, so you can just jump in the elevator.
You just gotta get down.
Am I that close?
You're real close.
Yeah, I'm fucking, like, is it gonna be close for, like, or is it gonna be like, yeah, I can make it there, no problem?
Well, let's say this. Make me a dexterity saving throw.
Alright, cool. I was like, I just make it?
Oh yeah, you boom, boom, boom. You jump like tuck. You're so large you like hit the back of the elevator, push the gurney back. Your legs are still dangling outside of the elevator, so you gotta like tuck those in just as it clips like into the actual shaft. You are inside of the elevator. Godfrey did not roll a stealth check, so as you jump inside and the gurney moves, you see that Godfrey was hiding behind the gurney this whole time.
Oh. Hello, Miss.
Help me set this fucking thing back up before we get shot.
Is it just me and him in this elevator?
Yeah.
And a gurney.
Hold on. Hold on. I have to ask a question.
Okay.
Be honest.
What's the question?
I don't know. Question not for you yet.
He's like, be honest, and Brett is like, with what?
Alright. Brett, what'd you ask me?
Help me stand this fucking thing back up before we get shot.
Did it fall down?
You knocked it over. You jumped in the elevator.
Alright, I'll grab it. Fucking, I guess pull it up.
All right, you set it up as like a makeshift like shield.
I'm gonna crouch back down and ready to action and knock it over.
I ain't crouching behind shit, dude.
You don't have to. This is what I'm doing.
You guys do all
Yeah.
that. We cut over to Detective Cross, who is sneaking across the dock there. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check, please, sir.
Why is there a star on my profile?
It's to show that you have your mulligan left.
Oh. I'm the only one.
You and Wes are the only ones. Joe, where you at?
This mic's muted.
Alright.
There you go. Stealth check, my good man.
Stealth check, my good sir. 14.
14. I'm gonna go ahead and roll. They got a +2 to this, or +3. Sorry. Ooh. You are sneaking across the the dock there. As you get closer and closer, the lightning is striking. You get to him as the lightning strikes, and he makes you as you get to him. And you see that he goes, "Oh, what the fuck!" Pulls out like the billy club in one hand and starts to undo his pistol from the other one.
Would you say I'm in combat right now?
You are for sure in combat right now.
I would like to use my bonus action, Insightful Fighter. Or is that what it's called? My bad. No, it is Insightful Fighting. Insightful Fighting. I make an insight check against his deception check, and if I succeed, I get sneak attack on him whenever I hit him.
Oh
Per
shit!
minute.
So he's gonna make a deception check.
Yeah, it's a deception check versus my insight check. 18.
11.
Oh damn, he's got a good charisma.
They have to. They have to be good liars to the public about being police officers. Yeah, you see that he comes up to you. You approach him. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Looks at you. And you see that as he makes you and you approach him, you hear him start to scream, but he's definitely screaming, but it almost like it's being drowned out by the storm. He goes, "I've got Cross! I've got him! He's down by the boats!" As he's like draws at you, but it's still your turn.
I have to think right now. Is the dex from using my tie worth it? I don't think it is. I think I'm just gonna fucking deck him.
Okay.
I'm just gonna punch him.
Go ahead and give me a d20 plus your strength modifier.
Just a strength check then. Bam! Now that's a miss, baby.
Greer, you see Cross has snuck across the bridge, or snuck across the boats, walks up, and has the policeman has seen him. Cross gets into his face. You see that Cross goes into this weird, this ugly boxing stance, and just punches him punches the dog straight in the forehead. This is the Chihuahua. Punches him in the forehead, and you see he's just like, "Ah, fuck, ah," over at the side.
Oh my god.
Do you wish to do anything?
That's what I do. I go. Ginormous sigh.
It's still my turn though, isn't it?
You don't get all. You not really. You moved over with your sneak, or you moved over with your stealth. You bonus action and you attacked him.
Fuck.
Cause fuck. Greer lets out a big sigh.
Probably.
What is it?
I don't know.
And I want to walk over to him.
Okay, you.
But,
you wouldn't be able to.
Very annoyed.
You wouldn't be able to walk because this is one round, so it's very short amount of time. So as soon as you see him punch him and it doesn't work, and you're just like, "Oh shit," and you just start heading over.
Okay.
Anything you want to do?
Do I get a full turn?
Yeah,
Oh, for sure. How many dudes are in front of me again?
just one. It's and he's half your size. He's like the Chihuahua cop.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You reach out, grab him by the throat. Give me an athletics check, please. All right, let me roll an opposed athletics.
Oh no.
+1. You just hear as you pick him up and you just toss him
Into the
backwards,
water.
and he splunk splashes into the water. You see the it's thunderstorm. The water's like real, like it's like angry waters as he's being rafted down the river.
I don't suppose he dropped his gun by any chance, did he?
Roll a perception check.
23.
23. He did in fact drop his gun.
I would like to take his gun.
All right, you take his gun. You guys have access to, like, again, that bottom of the house now, the boathouse that goes into the bottom of the house. As you were there, you look over at as you look over at a Cross, kind of just like, you know, is like, where's your fucking flourish at? Where's that fancy fighting you do? Like, wild. Okay. Anybody else wish to do something?
I guess we're.
You add that gun into my inventory for me real quick.
Yeah, I'll add a glizzy.
I expect the gun to be named. Watching it appear.
Wait, I think it's, what is it? Base, but you change it to a ranged attack? Yeah, there it is. Then it is 2d6 plus 2. There you go.
How many walls does it have?
You have 6 shots.
Thank you.
Yep. Alrighty then. You guys are sprinting in through the you guys start sprinting into the different house. Is anybody going in through the front door?
I don't think so.
Okay. You guys start to head to the roof. The elevator opens as you guys head in through the bottom. You guys head in through the roof. The two of you head in through the bottom. The door opens to the boathouse, and you see, locked in a cage, like a big cage, is Lady Constance and Dr. Magpie. Alive.
Oh, okay.
Is there other crates like that?
Not with people in them. But you also see that kind of walking around from the outside of the cage is Lady Lucretia. Alive.
Outside the cage.
Correct.
So, do I see Badger anywhere?
Squire Badger?
Uh-huh.
No.
Badger's dead. Badger's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead. Also, the crazy lady is your wheelhouse. I'll break them out of the cage.
Another just.
Yeah, you just see, oh, my dear niece, all you had to do was go along with the plan, and now here you are locked in a cage like some damn dog. She says, we are badgers, for Christ's sakes.
Lucretia did it?
Lucretia did it, but Lucretia's certainly in on it. But, being the, crazy bitch is definitely good cover for murdering a bunch of people. Is all I'm saying. Also, can I make a stealth roll to
to hide?
Yes, go ahead and make a stealth check. Are you stealthing too, or are you just walking in?
I'm walking in.
Okay, you just walk in.
There we go. Good rolls.
You see that, like, the two of you look at each other like, you know, this is, like, the norm. He gives you a nod, like, disappears into the shadows as you just walk in through the front door. Lucretia turns, she goes, "Oh, my fellow connoisseur of the ghosts and ghouls. What brings you down here? Are you..."
I heard her saying that stuff, right?
Oh, she's talking to you.
No, beforehand when she was like, "Oh, yeah, let's follow
Yeah.
the plan." Cool. Slack.
She's just like, she goes, "What have you done?"
That sound. What have I done? I'm sorry. Did you actually just hear me? Oh, no. What have I done? You've got to be one to talk.
She goes, "I don't know what you're talking about. I have not the slightest of clues.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have zero idea."
That one I can agree with on anything.
Yeah.
Just saying.
She goes, "Well, I'm glad we agree then. Nothing is out of the ordinary here."
I look at the two people in a cage. Look back at her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch.
You just
Straight
blast
in the face.
blast her in the face.
Yeah.
Um,
What do we roll?
You're a monk, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll your unarmed strike.
It's just this guy, right?
Just the damage.
Oh,
Not to hit,
my
yeah.
Bad, my bad.
Lucretia is not a fighter. You just blast her for 6 damage. Nose fully explodes.
Hurry a blow, please. How do I do that?
It's 2 more attacks, right? So you just roll damage 2 more
Is it
times.
just 2?
Yeah,
increases with my level, right?
Oh, yeah. So when you flurry of blows, you just get 2 more attacks.
You have to roll a hit for all of them, though.
Well, the last 2 you do, yes. Yeah, she really wasn't expecting you to just blast her in the face. Woof. So 1 misses, 1 hits.
Yeah, but 1 hits for double.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it already maxed it out. Okay. So then, yeah, you just rolled a 1. So she takes 13 damage as you just crack and cross. You see this from the shadows as Greer just is like, you see like this weird like flash go in Greer's eyes of like post-war like traumatic disorder, like trauma, as I'm just like Greer's back in the trenches and just like bam, 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 just rocking this poor badger lady. She doesn't go down. She looks terrible, but she looks real like bloodied up as her nose is pissing blood.
Cool.
She flips over a desk that's down there. When she pops back out, she fully has a revolver pointed at your chest.
Hey, can I shoot her?
Give me 1 second. She goes, "Oh, who's the motherfucker now? Who's going to join the ghosts? Not me, at least not yet, but I will speak to you once your spirit has joined the great beyond."
Go ahead, do it.
Cross, go ahead and roll.
Advantage.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing her hand, by the way, that has the gun in it, pulling it more into my chest. So her hand is currently grabbed. Can I roll something to grapple her hand?
She's not fast. Like, you're just like, do it. And you just hear, blam, from the other side of the room, like light flash. You see Lucretia's, like, right in the forehead, explodes, blood paints you in the face. She drops to the ground. You see Cross steps out with a literal smoking gun, and it's just like very James Bond. Like, she just steps out.
Greer just wipes their face, splurts it on the ground, and just goes, "Cross! I thought we fucking talked about not getting blood on the uniform!"
Wild.
And started working on the lock to get them out of the cage.
You see that Cross is just kind of like, we're not doing this. Turns around and starts like working on the lock again. Lucretia and Magpie are alive. They're unconscious but alive. You can easily tell. They're not even like roughed up. They look totally fine, like full hit points fine. They're just unconscious and they're bound and gagged. You see that. They are tied up. The lock is simple enough. Go ahead and give me a lock pick. Go ahead and give me a thieves tools check.
Real quick, while he's doing that, can I loot Lucretia?
Sure. Just give me a deck save.
What is the roll for thieves?
Just give me a deck save. It's usually just your dex mod and your proficiency bonus. Yeah, you tick, pick the lock, comes open. You loot Lucretia. She's got like a bag of incense on her, like a literal in this bag of like herbs and incense and shit is a bag of just small bones, like bones and teeth. You see that like obviously she has like that revolver, but it only has like one shot in it. That was like if she missed, she's just whole fucked. Yeah, so that's all she has, unfortunately.
For sure, taking that revolver.
Okay, you guys, everybody's got guns. You guys do that.
Mine got swallowed by hell.
Yeah, you missed some stuff. The cage pops open. Cross, you were looking at Lady Constance and Jared and Dr. Magpie.
Got it. Real quick, I'm just curious. I want to see what happened. I want to see how much damage I would have done with that shot real quick, because I'm curious. So that, and then this.
Just so we're clear, she only had 15 hit points, so the lowest that you could have rolled would have killed her.
I know. I'm just, I just want to see what it looks like when it pops off, because I haven't played Combat Rogue in a while.
You open the cage. As you start to like check on Constance and Dr. Magpie, you see that they start to come to. But they are, like I said, they're fully bound and gagged.
Yeah, is there anything sharp in this boathouse shed thing?
I mean, there's a couple of tools in here for like.
I have my scalpel from my medkit.
Greer pulls out a scalpel.
I gesture to the ropes and I ungag them while I shoot them.
I'm just
These
through all
super
the-
precise cuts.
Yeah.
You ungag Lady Constance. She's like, what's going on? Auntie, oh my god! And she looks over and sees that like Lucretia's body just sprawled out over the boathouse. Brains leaking out.
Brains on my face.
She goes, Detective Cross, what's the meaning of this?
So you have no idea what happened. Lovely.
She goes, Cross, I don't follow. This is no time for games.
Well, me and Grit here were walking down into this boathouse because, we snuck out of the house finally to do our investigating, and your aunt was standing there, spouting like a lunatic about how you should have just followed the damn plan, blah, 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 and you were bound and gagged in this here cage, and we may have, incapacitated your auntie.
Give me a deception check with disadvantage, please.
I think the sarcasm was evident enough in that statement, but sure. Do deception with disadvantage.
Yes.
Yikes.
That's still really good. She goes, oh, how could I have been so stupid? She like completely like ignores it. Like you're like, we incapacitated her. She's like, I mean, okay. Like,
Well, you're not wrong.
she's like, all right. She goes, how could I have been so stupid? She goes, oh, Auntie, we're better than this. Like she's screaming at the corpse. That isn't gonna respond. She's like, we're better than this. Now look at us fighting in the family boathouse over something so stupid. She goes, Detective Cross, Sergeant Greer, I humbly, deeply, I apologize for anything that may have came at a negative impact for you. I never intended for any of this to happen to you.
No, being framed as a serial killer, that's just part of the job.
She goes, I don't know what Okay, I do. My father was not... He was different when he came back from the war. He was changed, and he came to me tonight. He came to me tonight, and we had a falling out. He explaining how we were going to go through with some plan. We were supposed to have our deaths faked, and we would escape. We would escape with and get to start over, but we would we would keep the Brockhollow name would fall alongside with us. We would die here tonight. But something was different about him. He seemed remorseful, regretful about something that made him change his mind. And he said, he told me I needed to run, and I told him I wouldn't abandon him, and he yelled and he screamed, and I'm sorry for assuming that you were the murderer of my father, or believing that anyone here tonight that was truly trying to help was out to get us. When I found out who my father was indebted to, it broke me.
I have to think right now. Has Greer finished cutting them out yet?
Yeah. They're unbound now.
Maybe we stick. But.
Yeah.
Well, so long as you're willing to come clean to the appropriate authorities and not your fake hired police force.
She says, I didn't hire any police.
Oh, lovely. Somebody did.
She goes, well, that's good news. Did the constabulary arrive?
How do I explain this? The constabulary is not who they appear to be.
Very
More
well.
henchmen, I suppose.
Great. Well, good thing the world's greatest detectives are on the case. You see that she looks over, she starts to kind of bring Dr. Magpie to. She goes, whatever happens tonight, Greer, please, I need you to end it all. Even if the Brockhollow name must fall, it must end tonight. No one else can be hurt over something so selfish. Yeah, like I said, she starts to tend back to Dr. Magpie.
Well, as you said, London's greatest detectives are on the case. I would require one thing of you before the evening is done. I need you to flee. Get Scotland Yard here. Get the real Scotland Yard here. We need backup, desperately.
Understood. You see that Dr. Magpie comes to, and she's like, sweetie, there's no time to explain. We've got to move now. You see she helps him to his feet. They give you guys a nod. They head off. You guys are in the boathouse. As you start to ascend the stairs of the boathouse, you find yourself right in front of the manor. As you guys head up to the stairs, there's if you know of a different a way you guys might want to get in, you can definitely do that. We've got the front door. You've got a bunch of windows. But from the outside where you're at, you can hear that the elevator is moving upwards.
I have one simple question for you.
What's up?
What is the effective range of this glizzy?
I think it's 60 to 100 feet or 80 to 160. One of the two. I don't know.
And how far up is that hill, would you say, if I were to get a vantage point of the roof?
If you were to get a vantage point of the roof, how far is it to where?
Okay, so if I were to have a good vantage point on the roof, how far approximately would I be? Would I be out of the effective range of this gun?
Shooting somebody on the roof?
Yes.
You would be within the range.
The elevator's already moving.
Yeah, you hear somebody's powered on the elevator.
I think I would be better off providing cover fire than I would actually attempting to go up the elevator. So, I think Cross will probably take a vantage point on the hill and try and help out the two gentlemen who have, or one gentleman, as I understand it, who has ascended in the elevator.
Alrighty. The elevator reaches the roof. The doors open to a black rainy sky.
Can I use the back of the elevator as a mirror to see what's out there?
You look towards the back of the elevator, which is open on the other side as well, to a black rainy sky.
Wait, no. The elevator had a back before whenever we came up to the roof. Because when he shot, it ricocheted off the back of the elevator and hit him.
Boom.
It's a lift. It's a freight elevator. It's like a cage. So like it's open on the back, but yeah, there's like a back wall to it.
Oh, okay. Can I roll a stealth to get out from behind this thing?
Sure, go ahead and roll stealth.
10?
You sneak out from behind the gurney and you walk out onto the roof.
I guess I'm gonna keep walking towards the tower.
Alrighty. Big old wooden door that leads up to the tower stands in front of you. The two of you get there, it's like a giant wooden door.
Is it locked or can I just open it?
You can just open it.
I'm gonna stealthily open it.
Okay, go ahead and roll another stealth. Okay, the door you lightly creak the door open. Inside, so sitting out here on the roof, you see first off there is another, like it's a big ass spiral staircase that both goes up and down. The stairway down goes down, as in there's a second entrance that goes to the tower somewhere. As soon as you open the door, you see that there's this big old landing, again, that takes the stairs up or down. You see that there are two of the party goers who are horribly beaten and horribly bloodied, fully unconscious on the ground at the bottom of the stairs.
Do I see a door by them?
The only door that is here is the door that you came from. Other than that, there's a stairway that goes up and a stairway that goes down. In front of you, like I said, in front of you are two party goers. You see are... Give me a second. I don't want to get this dude's name wrong. Wherever his name is. Yeah, that guy. Lord Ewan McCrae, the Scottish sheep, that sheep guy. And who is the other one? Can't remember what the fuck the other guy's name is. It's gonna kill me. All right, let's see. Apologies for the inconvenience. As your DM, forgot the names of your NPCs. I'm trying to look it up, but I don't really know where to find it.
Of the names he made up.
Lawrence Longfoot. There we go. Lawrence Longfoot, the hair reporter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are
Can I listen?
beaten and bloodied, lying there unconscious on the ground. You see that they're alive, but like barely. Like in fact, you see that like they're alive, but barely, to the point where like they're making death saves right now.
And I listen for footsteps or any sort, or like any breathing of any kind, like that may reflect off the walls of the tower.
Sure, give me a perception check. It's pretty silent in here. It's overpowered by the sound of the thunder and lightning from outside. So that it's hard to hear. The only like breathing you hear is yours. There's not a lot, and there's not like any sound coming from upstairs or downstairs really. There is a record that is playing upstairs though. So somebody's playing music from a record player upstairs.
I don't know whether I should go up or down. I'm gonna go down and try and help them. But like I'm gonna do it quietly, so another stealth.
Okay, you wanna give me a stealth?
Thank you.
You take the path downstairs to find another door hidden in the walls. This one leading to the room, leading to the opposite end of the room of the squire's bedroom. So you open the doors. You find yourself back in the squire's bedroom. You do that. Real quick, how are Greer and Cross getting into the house? You guys have come in through the boathouse. You're at the front door. Are you guys going in through the front door? You guys going through a window?
It was my understanding that the confrontation was about to happen on the roof, so I was gonna go up the hill to get like a vantage point on the roof and provide cover fire.
You would not be. Here's what I'm saying. So the boathouse takes you to the front door. It's like you come out the front door and it's this big old slope downwards, like a hill downwards that leads to the river where the boathouse is. There would be no way to get to the roof unless you take the elevator to the roof.
Couldn't I just climb the hill, like around the house? I could just go around the house and go up the hill.
You can certainly try. You're going through some muddy terrain, my guy. Some storm-ridden terrain. I'm talking like athletics check with disadvantage and a crazy high DC.
I'm just thinking here. People in this house think I'm a murderer. I start walking in with a goddamn gun. Everybody's gonna lose their goddamn minds. But then again, the police are holding them hostage.
Even though I'm saying like go to the front door, it doesn't mean like kick down the front door. You can sneak through the front door if you'd like.
I'm aware. It's just
Not getting in through the basement though.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll just. If I peek through the windows and no one's immediately in the frickin' front area, I'll sneak inside. I guess.
Okay, it's pretty easy to sneak it through a window. You can do that.
Not like that, I can't. Oh, yeah, that's a 7. I thought that was a 2.
You pull open one of the windows. It's not locked. It's not really locked. As you come on the inside, you are trying to feel with your foot where the ground is, and as you hit with the tip of your foot, the carpet pulls out from under you. You slam onto the ground. You hear somebody from the drawing room runs over. Again, one of the cops, but you manage to scramble behind one of the chairs, like almost like under the dining room table, out of sight as they come inside. You see they look around, they don't see you. They see that the window is open, however, and you see he goes, bloody hell, and he turns around, he goes, Nettles! I think Cross is inside. He goes, I think Cross is either inside or outside. We might want to establish a perimeter. And you see that like Nettle goes, all right, let's get on it. And they start to like go around the house. You still have the opportunity to sneak upstairs though.
Cross is gonna mutter to himself in bloody fucking brilliant deduction skills. Genius. And, the first thing he's going to do before he attempts to start sneaking around the house is he's going to remove the, like, wet outer layer of his clothes to try and, like, hide his trail and stuff. And then he will sneak upstairs. Do you need me to re-roll that stealth roll?
Yes, do it with advantage, please.
With advantage. Cool. Boom. That's a nat 20, baby.
Damn.
Oh, you see my ass.
You sneak in from the outside. You see that, like, Greer's right behind you as you guys are sneaking up the stairs. As you guys get up the stairs, you see that as Jeeves comes down into the master bedroom, cracks the door open, looks out into the hallway. You guys see Jeeves over at the master's bedroom. Jeeves, you look over and you see your two allies sneaking up the stairs.
Would they see me though with that? What was it? 21.
Yeah, they have a natural 20, dog.
I got a nat 20. I got a nat 20. You think my ass? I am carpet right now, bitch.
Well, so then I wouldn't see them.
It's not so much that you're hiding from each other. He's just trying to hide. They're trying to hide from, like, the people in the house. So when I'm assuming that, like, when you guys meet up again, you're not hiding from each other. You'd be like, yo, this way, like over here. You sneak into the master bedroom. You see that one of the doors has been, like, a secret door was hidden behind the master's bed set. That is now open. Do you tell them about where it goes?
Yep.
Okay. You see that it goes. He's like, he tells you it goes upstairs. So you guys are doing that. Edgar, what are you doing?
Wait, hold on. We're upstairs?
You are in the tower.
Right. And Brett went through the door, right?
So he went down the stairs, because remember, there's two sets of stairs, one that goes up, one that goes down. He took the one downstairs, revealing another secret door that was in the master bedroom. That is apparently how Squire Badger or whoever else who knew about it was sneaking up to the tower without having to take the elevator.
Wait, wasn't the master bedroom locked? And I have the key?
Did you relock it?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't recall you relocking it. I remember you unlocked it originally using the key.
Did we relock it?
It would have been you, but I don't think you did.
Oh no, there was a murder happening. The last person in the room was Sam.
Correct.
Right.
But Sam hasn't, like, ever since he discovered the secret passage, he hasn't taken the door.
I guess. Is Brett still visible after going all the way down there or no?
No, he's literally in an entirely different room.
Alright. Am I able to, like, call out to him, or would I just know that he's too far?
You can risk shouting down to him if you want. Just so I'm clear, do you care about either of the two people that are unconscious on the ground? Because, like I said, I'm rolling death saves for them, so I just need to know.
The ones in front of me?
Yeah, like I said, there's you and McCrae, the sheep, and there's the hare.
How badly do they look, though?
Bad. They look real bad.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. So I'm gonna go... No, I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay, you head upstairs. Upstairs. There is a big old wooden door at the top. Upstairs, you hear music, very like old classical orchestral music being played from the other side through a record player.
Okay. Do I notice the song?
Is Edgar Undergrove an acquirer of orchestral music?
I believe I'm a bard.
Yeah, but like, is your music that you play like classic orchestral music?
Oh. No. Alright. Cool. Jesus, just muted myself. You said the door's closed, right?
Yeah, it's closed.
And the only thing I can hear is the classical music.
Yep.
Is there a light underneath the door?
Yes, there does seem to be a light under the door.
Can I like guess perception to see if I hear anything else?
Sure, go and give me a perception check. Nah, that with the mixture of that lightning and thunder outside and this music is really muting whatever sound would be on the inside.
Try to. Is it like a doorknob or like?
It's a knob.
handle?
It's a knob. Yeah.
Can I slowly try to turn it?
Yeah.
Sneakily?
Give me a stealth check, please. You open the door. It is a pretty well furnished room. Like I said, it's very warm in here. You see that there's a whole lantern system that's kind of set up that's providing light into the room. Big old tower window at the end of the room. You see that there is a record player in there. And did I mention that Connor McCabbage is tied up in this room?
Like sexy tied up or like
all revealing and shit.
Huh? I start growling
Can't
like
see
one of my
dots.
French girls. No, Mr. McCabbage. Is his like mouth gagged?
Yes, his mouth is gagged. He's incredibly thin, even for a mouse. You see that he's incredibly malnourished, like legitimately skin and bones. Hands are kind of curled into one another. You see that like he's barely alive because he's the thing that's keeping him alive is probably like the single piece of bread that they've been feeding him every day.
I guess I'm gagged. First, before I even approach him, I'm gonna look around the room. Do I see anything else?
Give me a perception check. You do a sweep around the room. And you see all that stuff that I mentioned in the room. And the last thing that you see is the door slams behind you, and the end of a barrel from behind the door points in your direction. You take 21 points of piercing damage as you are shot directly in the chest. Loud bang, blam! You were shot in the chest. Cross, Godfrey, and Wes, where are you at?
West?
Yes.
He is down by where the next murder was being staged.
Oh yeah, you're hiding in the cellar. Okay, cool. So Cross and Jeeves would be the one that hear it. You guys hear a faint gunshot go off. Like upstairs, way upstairs.
Can I tell where in the manor?
Say again?
Can I tell where in the manor?
It's not in the manor. Like, it is technically, but it sounds like you guys are on the upper floor. The only thing more above you would be the roof. But since you're standing at the entrance of the tower that goes further up than the roof, you immediately can tell that wherever the gunshot came from the tower.
Can I check the drawers in the bedroom to see if he has a gun hidden, like under the pillows and the drawers? Anything real quick?
Sure. Here's what I'm saying. You can either roll that. I'm saying, not that you don't really have a choice, but if a gun went off, I feel like your worst thoughts are coming to mind, and that is like, who was just gunned down? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ross is gonna sprint up that staircase.
Okay, you sprint up the stairs. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check, please, Jeeves.
Heard.
22. You are searching. You start looking through stuff. Going through. You do not see that Squire Badger has a gun inside of here. You remember that the only gun that you remember there being in the house is the one that's in the study, which is downstairs. You sprint upstairs. You see that a light is now shining down through the staircase. You head up the stairs. You come into the room, and you see Edgar Undergrove's body, bloodied and sprawled out all over the ground next to Connor McCabbage by the end of the room. Over by the end of the room.
I don't see a gun, do I?
You do not.
Okay. Think logically. You came up the stairs. You didn't see anybody. What? The murderer's supposed to be up here. There's no way they just jumped out of the tower. There's not a chance in hell. Perception. I wanna find. Fuck. Do I hide? But if they're hiding, they probably already found me. Fuck. Can I make a perception roll to try and figure out
Go.
what the fuck murderer is?
Perception or you can do a perception or insight.
Or insight?
Or insight. You're thinking, yes, you came up the stairs, you didn't see anybody, you didn't pass anybody. You start looking around the room, they're obviously not in the room, there's no way you hide outside. The only place for them to be, Cross, would be where?
You're not in the room. They didn't go down the stairs. I don't know. Is there any more up than this?
There is not. Cross, if you didn't see them coming down the stairs, that means they were where prior? You find yourself stuck on this question. I didn't pass them on the way upstairs because the only place they would be, if not down there, would have been already down the stairs. You turn around, a barrel pointed in your face. You see a bloodied and bruised Lawrence Longfoot standing in the doorway behind you, who begins to walk you into the room and closes the door behind him.
Which one Longfoot is?
He was the photographer. He's the photographer. Who's walking in,
Okay.
He walks you into the room, and he goes, "Well, Mr. Cross, this is untimely. It's truly unfortunate that you found yourself here, well, literally and metaphorically at the end of a barrel."
So you've been the one murdering everybody this evening?
He says, "Well, isn't it obvious?"
Well, he looks at the gun. I suppose now it is.
He goes, "Oh, I get it. No. That's my bad. I should have did a little bit better at explaining this to you." You see his other hand reaches up takes off a pair of his glasses. You see he fully takes off like this weird kind of like flesh mask, revealing Fletcher Cottonbottom underneath, hiding amongst the general public this entire time. And I think it hits across at this very moment where he realizes the best way to hide would be to not hide at all. The only thing that's close to a rabbit is a hare. He says, "Now then, Mr. Cross, I've been waiting so patiently for this moment to say hello. As myself, not as anyone else behind a mask. And here we are. Hello."
Fucking psychopath.
Oh, don't say mean words, Mr. Cross. I know that when I never came out of the waterfall that you were thinking about me too. Still backing you up, by the way, as he walks you toward, and he goes, haul this, and here you are. You weren't supposed to be here, you know. But, the good old Squire Badger, he was afraid. He's afraid of me, the ghosts, ghosts from beyond. Figured at the very end he was gonna call for some help. He called you. You and that Detective Greer. Who knew that the only person that would figure out his ledger and anything else would be another person in the same war? But none of that matters, because here we are, you and me, just like old times, buddy. And you come to a stop in the threshold of an open window. Gun pointed at your head. And it is at this moment I'm going to jump back over to Godfrey. Godfrey, what do you do?
Am I able to hear any of that?
You are downstairs. You know that Cross went upstairs, and you haven't heard anything since.
I didn't hear the door shut.
He did. He didn't slam it. He just slowly closed it behind him.
So Godfrey's gonna care about the people, and he's gonna use this song of healing to save them from dying.
You go upstairs. You see that only you and McCrae is there.
And she still looks like she's on death's door, right?
Yeah, you looks bad.
Do I see Greer anywhere?
You do not see Greer.
You said it was the sheep?
Yeah, the sheep person is the only one there.
Okay. So I know the other person disappeared up the steps, probably.
It would seem that way.
There's no bloody footprints going up the steps?
There are bloodied footprints going up the stairs.
Yeah, so they definitely got up and up the stairs. Alright, still, I gotta care about the sheep. So I'm still gonna end up using my Song of Healing.
Alright, you cast your Song of Healing. You see that Ewan comes back and he goes, "Ray, I'll put one right through you, you fucking bastard!" Like, he snaps forward and he's like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" As he's, like, looking around frantically.
I'm gonna give him that, my finger in my mouth. And then start sneaking up the stairs.
Alright. You head up the stairs. We cut back to the scene upstairs. You see that he goes, "Now I'm not gonna drag this out any longer than it needs to be, Cross. I know that, you've had yours, and now it's my turn to get mine. So, you know the deal. He goes, you know the game. He reaches into his back pocket, pulls out a set of handcuffs, tosses them to you, and he goes, he goes, go on, some shiny new bracelets for you.
Can I take this moment to take my bonus action and use my insightful fighting trait?
You may. You immediately, like the Sherlock Holmes movies, like go into that, like, that view of like trying to analyze and pick apart this fight. You're seeing all of the possible outcomes that could possibly happen, and you see all of them are leading to one outcome, and that is you being shot, because there's no way you dodge a shot from this close. And that is you being shot and being pushed out of the window into the river below, just like all those years ago in the dreams that haunt you at Reich and Bunny Falls.
I would like to pose a question to you.
What's that?
If I make like I'm gonna put the handcuffs on, how quickly do you think I could slot the other end? Like I put one on myself, slot the other end on him, and then jump out the window?
It's going to be a sleight of hand check. The sleight of hand checks for all sleight of hand checks.
Well, either way, I'm getting shot. Yeah, either way, I'm getting shot. Hail Mary, baby. I make like I'm gonna put the cuffs on, and I'm going to attempt to slap the other end on him and jump out the window.
Holy shit, I watched that fall from a natural 20, bro. You reach out, you put one on, you reach out to grab his wrist. As the door breaks open, you see Godfrey at the other end. You see Cotton Bottom whips around, fires a shot at Godfrey. It hits the wall, splinters part of the door. Godfrey, he misses you as you kind of take cover behind the door, and he goes, "You're too slow." He goes, "You're too slow, you hedgehog." Turns around, puts a foot straight and across his chest, and he kicks you out of the window. Godfrey, you have a moment here, but it is a moment for all moments.
So he kicked Cross out the window, right?
Yes, you see Cross is going over the window.
Just go back downstairs.
No.
I don't even get any type of save. I just get yeeted.
I was gonna say, like, he's not. Wouldn't you still have to roll to hit there?
Oh, trust me, I've been rolling this whole time.
He gets to do it as well.
Well, because on the to hit, I was gonna use my. What was it? So on the kick, I was going to use my cutting words as I stormed through the door.
Go ahead and use cutting words. What do you want to do?
So I'm gonna look at him before he finishes his kick. I'm like, do you really want to kick him? Because like, wouldn't you rather kick me down these steps and then it's a 2-for-1?
Go ahead and roll your die.
It takes 2 off of his to hit roll.
You see that he goes, "No, I really want to kick him." He kicks you in the chest, Cross, and even though he hits, it lowers it enough to where you don't go, like, you are currently tumbling out the window. You have enough for another action.
I don't suppose that I could take my gun out and shoot him, could I?
What do you want to do?
Would that roll be made at disadvantage?
I would say it would. I don't know. You're not prone, which would give you advantage, but you're not prone. I guess there wouldn't really be. No, I would say no. You don't have disadvantage.
I'm gonna try and shoot him. Also, did my insightful fighting, like, proc?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So,
I'm gonna roll to fire the gun into Cotton Bottom. I would say into his head, but that's a called shot, and I'm not chancing that. So I am just going to fire, and we're gonna hope that this roll is good. That is not a good roll. That's not a good roll at all.
You tumble out. You tumble out. Blam! Ping! Hits off of the roof. Splinters onto the wall. You see that Cotton Bottom, who dodges down, he goes down to the very last breath. Huh? I dig that. You see he puts a foot on the end, aims down at you. As you watch, you almost like in slow motion, his finger beginning to squeeze the trigger.
I don't suppose I could do anything with my cunning action right now, could I?
You do not. But Godfrey, you trying your damnedest to bail Cross out in this last moment, failing. Cotton Bottom kicking Cross out of the window, leaning over out of the window to shoot one final shot, and you know this would be a kill shot because Cross can't dodge. Feel yourself shoved out of the way. You fall kind of head over heel as something has just shoved the shit out of you. Cross, you see as before the trigger is pulled, something hits the back of Cotton Bottom as he rears backwards. Flying out of the window above you is Sergeant Greer, who has tackled Cotton Bottom out of the window and has begun to sail downwards. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Me or Greer?
You.
Me. Okay. Me.
What is this?
Please be good. That's not good.
You do that. So you see that. You see Greer. You catch onto a stone outside of the tower. You see that Greer, they're going like horizontal before they go down, so they're still flying outwards. The two of you sharing another look, very similar to the one back in Reich and Bunny Falls. Edgar, can you give me a con save, please?
A con save? That's not good either. Man, I'm just rolling like fucking shit.
Holy shit! Holy shit! Edgar, I don't know what it is. Something inside of you tells you, like, you're not done. You, on a natural 20, stand to your feet, bullet hole in your chest, as you watch Greer sprints past you, tackles Cotton Bottom out of the window. You, like, you weren't fully unconscious, but you were definitely, like, incapacitated, so you saw Cotton Bottom reveal himself, kick Cross out the window, all that stuff as Cotton Bottom heads out the window with Greer. I will allow you to make an action.
Would there be enough time to grab Greer?
I'm going to need you to make a dexterity saving throw, friend. You mustering up all of your energy, big old limp to the window. You slam your body into the door frame as you slump over, giant gorilla arm reaching out, as you find purchase on that kangaroo's ankle, slamming down into the side of the wall. Like, you both slam into that wall. It hurts every fiber of your being as you feel that stinging sensation in your chest. Cotton Bottom whizzes past you, whizzes past Greer, whizzes past Cross. The last thing you see of Cotton Bottom, Cross, is him give you a dastardly smile as he plummets downwards. And he goes, I'll be seeing you real soon, buddy. Disappears into the darkness. And that's all for, well, this game. of mice and murder. This has been your Adventurer's Guide reminding you that it could